Okay. So to just brush up on where we are, we currently have our backs pressed to a cold, squarish stone that has dwarven incantations carved expertly into its surface from an era long past. You are standing on mostly firm ground. The mud kind of squicks beneath your boots, but it stays in contact together underneath your weight with relative trustworthiness. There are a bunch of reeds that pop up out of the water surrounding you. It is very quiet. You are not hearing the chirping of crickets or the buzzing of bugs or any of the other things that you would expect to hear this deep into a swamp where life comes from death. The fog is very, very thick. The foliage overhead is blocking the sunlight. You don't know where the whites have gone. What you do know is that when you killed one successfully and it collapsed into the water, it reverted into being a normal person, a villager that may have been gotten.
Alrighty.
So at this point, you guys all have your back to the wall. You're waiting for these things to come back. You have roughly a minute before they are no longer terrified of Satch.
Quick question for you, Mr. GM. Are we going to re-roll initiative, or do you actually have initiative still stored?
I don't have it stored,
so we're going to re-roll. I mean, technically it's a new combat, right? So
yes, we're going to re-roll initiative.
Okay, all right.
So
what are we
doing?
There is about 60 seconds, 10 rounds that we can just break initiative order for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see. So who is that that's hiding in the bushes?
Yeah, so when Dudley says that from just a block of reeds, you're just going to hear, I think we should get out of here. Because I'm very hidden and you cannot see me.
Well.
Otto?
Yeah, it's me, Otto, the reeds.
Are you invisible?
Well, in a way, yes. And I think we should all make ourselves invisible from this area as quickly as possible.
Or at least get higher grounds.
Is there any higher ground available?
Yeah.
We do have a minute. I'm gonna cover me. I'm gonna run forward and take a look at the thing.
All right. I don't know how far the thing is, really. So.
Oh, this way. I set down my light scroll there. Who had the other source of light?
Me. I have light cast on my longsword.
Where did the scroll go?
Oberdon, if you would.
The scroll's up here.
Yeah, I put a scroll down to cause light effect here, so that we'd have a better visual.
Yeah, it is controllable by all players, so if you wanted to bring it with you, you could.
Yeah, but I'd rather have Oberdon with me because then I feel safe.
Yeah, but Oberdon has no intentions of turning his back off of this rock right now. Strategically, he thinks that this is the safest place to be.
How tall is this dwarven stone slab?
I think I said it was 10 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm gonna try to climb it.
Okay.
I will give him a proverbial handhold and hoist him up. So I'll give him. I will basically assist him.
Yeah, I think that gives him +2. You're a monk. Do you have the walk on walls crap?
No.
That I hate. Okay, good.
I could just say yes, and we could be okay with that. No, I don't.
Okay, I just need to know if you had that. In that case, give me a climb check with +2 for the assist from Oberdon.
All right. Yeah.
No.
With the +2, is that before or after?
That is with the +2.
Dice pane for everyone, Gore.
Oh,
that is with the +2 added. So.
Okay, so you're gonna be able to get yourself up. You're holding onto the top, right? But your boots are covered in mud and gunk and guck, right? So as Oberdon's pushing you up, your foot's gonna slide out of his gauntlet, and you're gonna be hanging on the side, and you'll be able to get up, but it's gonna take you a good hefty pull and some time. But you'll eventually get up. You're not gonna. So before we figure out what's on top of that, if anything is, we have. We're following Emery towards the glowing thing with the eye that is not actually an eye. That's just so the audience can see it.
Yes.
So as you're walking through, this pile of rubble that you're walking on top of is very loose. It's also very fresh. and very treacherous, as if something or someone had recently grabbed a whole bunch of rocks and then just thrown them all over the place to create this this sort of like untrustworthy terrain where you have to step or you're going to hurt your feet or it's going to roll out from underneath your foot or whatever. If you go through it at half speed, you're fine. Running past that would be a reflex save. On your... It's your left. There's this this warm, bubbling, stanky mass of water that you can't see the bottom. It's too thick. It's not like the rest of the swamp. You're gonna guess at a glance that something about the raw magic that's building in the swamps is altering the swamps in this very... it's bad. It's very bad.
We're gonna need the church. I'm gonna take another look at the
You
thing
are
and
the
then
church
think-
now, Emery.
No. We need more than stupid Adonis. We need. Let's get Wenta in here. Let's get pour beer in it until it dies.
Throw Fanger in it. It'll be fine.
I'm gonna see that, look at it. I'm kind of picking up webs and stuff. I'm not happy. I'm gonna back in to my crowd here. Just be like, Oberdon is probably right here.
The closest you get to the crystal formation is enough to tell you that whatever that is old, naturally occurring, and being used. But you're going to have to actually get in close to it in order to start, inspecting it and deciphering the magic of what's occurring. To do science, you must get close.
With that, I'm going to drop my scroll again and take my backpack to the rocks.
Okay. At this point, a minute has
Wait.
passed.
While
Okay.
while that was happening, during that minute,
Yep.
I want to have turned to freaking Gorbad's character. Oh god.
Yabba dabba.
Oh God is right. Yes.
Oberdon. Oberdon.
Oberdon as opposed to oh God.
Oberdon.
Yeah.
Do you have any spells I can borrow for this? They're coming back soon.
Borrow?
I can help you. Yeah,
I-
if there's anything you want to hand me, I can take it and I can cast it. We can get this done. Only if you want to give it to me. I don't want
I give
You
you
know.
shit. Hold on.
to.
Okay.
you're interested,
Let's see.
I never will take.
As a
from you
reminder, does
unless you want to
does
give
it
to
take
me.
my spell slot if I give it to him?
Yes.
I actually don't know, so I'm going to default to Jane's expertise on that and just trust
She
Jane
said
not-
yes, which was definitely a stupid answer.
It definitely takes your spell, so you have one less.
Okay. All right. If that is the case,
Don't give her anything.
no, I'm gonna give Dudley cure light wounds.
Ooh. Okay. Cool.
Just
So I'm gonna touch you. You're like, here you go. Just transfer whatever you want. And I'm gonna touch your shoulder.
all right. I will channel Adalis's healing energies through my fingertips into
Okay.
Dudley.
I feel this little glowing ball that goes through my body. Oh, that's a good one. Thank you. Can't wait to use this.
I hope you don't have to use it.
That's true. But maybe if our enemies are nice, I can heal them.
Being that they are rotten and vile and wicked, I don't think nice is an appropriate verb.
I always hope they will be. Okay.
During that time, Hjorthrik has been climbing up on top, right? And we'll say over the course of a minute, you're a monk. It's slippery because this whole place is it's very moist. And so
Moist.
moist.
I hate you all. Okay. What's on top of the rock, if anything? Anything? Maybe?
Okay. Well, what's on top of the rock is me deleting the
Yay.
vision blocking stuff, and then remembering which. So you're up on top of the rock.
Put
So
that
first
dwarf
off,
up there.
you can see much farther, and you can see much clearer from up here. I will break the rule of which edition I'm playing, and if you are searching and inspecting, I will give you advantage because of the advantageous position you have.
There you go.
For
That makes
scanning.
perfect
So
sense.
if you wanted to go looking for these whites, because they're hiding in the fog, and now you're above the fog. which means 1, they can see you, and 2, you might be able to make them out.
Yeah, so I will be looking pretty much everywhere that the party is not. So this vicinity, yeah.
Go ahead and give me a search check with advantage.
All right, so I'll do search twice, I guess, right? Yep, that makes sense. Yep.
We'll search twice to take the better one. I really like the advantage mechanic, and I'm very sad that I can't envision playing without it anymore, even though this is the edition before mechanic.
Well, my searches aren't very good because my search is horrible. So yeah, those are the 2.
All right. Well, the best one you get there is an 11.
Yeah.
I will tell you, you are pretty certain. Oh, that's me not on the right layer. The fog is moving. I will tell you that you detect motion, or not motion, but you see the motion, the signs of motion. That you are pretty certain they are headed in the direction of the glowy thing. But you don't know specifically where. Like, the way the fog kind of, like, curls and moves, you're not 100% certain, but you think they're not here. You think they're going in the direction of the glowy thing away from you.
So the glowing thing being the sphere, the thing that we see in the distance, right?
Yeah, this crystalline spire that's about 6 feet tall, about 3 feet wide at the base, really sharp at the tip.
Okay, so I'm going to get down on my stomach and kind of, like, pop my head over the top of the ledge down to Oberdon. So probably my beard will dangle down and scratch the top of your helmet, Oberdon, because you're tall.
Wait, what?
My beard is down because I'm
Tickling
like on
you.
the ledge. It's
Okay.
tickling
All
me.
right,
from
yeah.
above.
When you said helmet, I actually don't wear a helmet, so I had visions
Oh,
of
wow,
terrible,
so
terrible
that's
things.
really
but-
awkward and personal now.
Yeah. So I can feel your whiskers tickling my ear, probably over my graying hair.
They're heading to where Emery went and came back from. I don't think they're coming over here.
Okay. That's a good thing. He typically, they could be just trying to lure us over to the strange obstacle.
Should we approach from another angle?
Octavius.
Yeah.
Do you think you're possibly able to sneak a little closer and get a better look?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess, is that the best thing we should do? Would that help the party the most? Would that be the most heroic thing? Do you think?
Oh, definitely be the most heroic thing, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Where are they? It's a little hard to see from here.
I will use the glowing longsword to kind of point to the southeast.
He clearly indicates in the direction of the glowing crystalline spire.
Okay. I'll kind of quickly move and look in that direction.
Way.
Yeah. Yeah, got it. Okay, so I'm gonna try to as much as I can, to whatever little spot, kind of zigzagging back and forth to see if I can, maybe here first and then over to here next, just to kind of see as I can get closer and closer to see if I can make out some of the whites in the fog.
All right, so you're going to explore the limits of our exposed vision right now in the torchlight and not go beyond it, or are you actually going to venture into the darkness where you're having a hard time
no,
seeing?
because the only thing that I can see with is that scroll, right?
Yes,
That's
and
the only thing
if
that's
you're carrying
emitting
the light
light.
source,
I
good luck
know.
being very stealthy.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna risk it a bit and just kind of
Gotta risk it for the biscuit, man.
That's exactly right.
All right,
gonna go.
so roll me DTT.
Okay.
While he's sneaking forward, I'm actually going to pick up the scroll and just have it with me, with the idea that if something, I don't know, sounds off, because I can't really see that far ahead, I would chuck it and try to misdirect.
Ooh.
Okay, I like that. Ooh.
Okay.
You only need to roll move silently. You don't need to roll hide because the fog here is so thick that you can't see. Also, roll me listen while you're doing this.
Okay.
Man, I now know why 5th edition was like, we're just going to make it perception instead of these two different skills.
Yeah.
All right, so you get that and you get that. All right, so in this radius here, you will come to the same conclusions that Emery did. This pile of rubble and dirt right here is actively designed to be in your way and something with at least a minimal level of intelligence and cunning set this up to be a barrier to your progress. This bubbling, glowing big puddle of green, thick goop, it emanates evil, man. You don't like it.
Harsh in my vibe.
Yeah, like it's a party foul waiting to happen.
Okay.
All right. And then when you get to
I'll move forward wherever I kind of go.
Here, let me do. Can I be on the correct layer? Roll 20. Thank you. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a 2-foot light radius, so that you can always see yourself as you move through the darkness.
Okay.
You find right beneath you, just to your south, there is about a 6-foot sudden drop. Right? It's a 6-foot, like the dirt is dry, it's exposed, it's not recently dug, it's natural. But it goes below the water level you're used to seeing. That's what you get from here. So I need to know how far you're moving. I'm gonna let you know if you would have fallen off. You're playing a roguely type. I'll tell you before. I'm not gonna make you trip and fall like a bad cartoon.
Okay, but I can tell from here that there's a drop. Is what you're saying?
It's a short drop. You can see the ground on the other side of it. Right? It's just very steep.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta
feeling good.
Move silently. I'm not gonna ask for another roll for that.
Okay.
So you can end up down here.
Okay.
At that point, you will definitely hear something moving away. Like you startled something, and it was like, "Oh shit!" And you heard like the scramble and the of it being surprised, and it moves away from you, and you hear that sound of the clawing against the now dry grass and stone. As it moves in the direction of this glowing crystalline shape. At this point, you're closer than Emery was. You can actually see little arcs of blue, almost like lightning. Like what are the Tesla coils? Where you're like they're kind of growing and running up and down, and they're pulling, like it's pulling the energy from the air in a way that kind of makes your ears pop.
Was that a Command and Conquer pull, by the way? Just curious. With the Tesla coil? Because that's what it made me think of.
Oh, no, I was just... I
just
think Tesla coils are cool. Like,
yeah.
Go ahead,
Jack.
everyone should have a Tesla coil.
No, I'm just on top of the ledge, and I do have low light vision. So do I see him vanish?
You don't see him vanish. You see him look around and lean and look at something, because he is out in the fog. So you'll watch him just kind of make a tiny little hop motion. It's deliberate. Like you're aware that he didn't just get yanked onto the surface of the fog.
Okay.
Like he clearly I envision Otto doing this cool power slide, like an action hero slide down the cliff, and then hitting the ground.
Oh, I'm juicing it up, man.
Yeah, and then you hit the ground, the thing runs away, and now you're starting to hear that faint as things are being pulled from the air to this crystal.
Okay, but the thing ran from me, or okay. Could I hear which way it went?
Yes, it went. It sped off in a direction somewhat viswardly.
Okay, so towards the thing.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
I like this wordly.
Yeah.
That's really good.
At this point, I don't know if I'd go. I don't know if Otto would go any further than this. Just because now that I've gotten close to, I can kind of see exactly what it is.
Yep.
And knowing something is down there, I can. And it didn't sound like it moved like the whites before. Did it? I mean, I don't know if I could discern that.
It might have been.
Okay.
Because the last time you saw them, it was in the middle of a heated combat. When you stabbed it, you were like,
sure.
Yeah, and then it turned around and just didn't give a shit.
Yep. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna attempt to make my way back up to the reeds where I started. I'm kind of doing a little recon.
Rather than asking for a roll, I'm going to make jumping up the cliff, because it's so short, that'll just be difficult terrain, so it'll be 2 squares of movement per cliff, so you can just go up without a roll, it's fine.
Okay.
And we're going to keep running off of your original move silently.
Okay.
So and then tiny rustling in the reeds.
Yeah, so all you guys see is just like that, just as it goes, and you hear, so, just FYI, I successfully scouted ahead as I was asked. Just want to make sure I get some sort of a gold star in that case.
Great job, Otto.
Thank you. Also, please keep your voice down.
Well, make him another badge.
So, Emery, did you see that, like, weird thing that was down there?
Yes. I didn't get a very good look because...
Well, I did.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know what it is?
Just making sure we're on the same page.
Do you
No.
know?
Absolutely not. Which is why I turned around, came back here, and figured you guys might have a better idea. Small problem. Actually, 2 small problems. Problem 1. There is a bit of a cliff. Dudley, you might have a little problem with that. Just FYI. Problem 2. There's something down there.
Is it the strange undead creatures that were attacking us earlier?
Possibly? Yes.
Are you able to help me down the cliff?
Absolutely. It would be my honor to do so, Dust.
Yeah, I don't have my badge in that yet.
It didn't look like a big cliff. You just did a little hop.
I'll look
Well,
up behind me.
I make difficult things look easy from time to time.
Yothric.
Remember the backflip?
What a guy.
What a guy!
Man crush.
Yes. Oberdon.
Can you see those strange creatures anywhere from your vantage point?
I'm gonna look. I don't see anything, do I?
Looking in the direction of that's too far away, and the fog is too thick out there.
Okay.
You have to get closer.
No, we're gonna have to get closer.
Perhaps we should all attempt to sneak closer to the obelisk or whatever it is and discover these strange creatures and what they're up to.
All right.
The more
And with that, I'm
information
going
we
to
gather,
scabbard my glowing bladed longsword.
Good play. So at this point, I'm going to do another thing, pulling a rule from a further edition into this one, because I really like it. It streamlines things. It's called a group skill check. Everybody roll stealth, and if half the group succeeds, then on the whole, you'll succeed.
Okay.
And if somebody botches, I will happily handle that at an individual level.
You're so
Move
kind.
silent.
Move silently.
Yes, move silently. We don't need to roll stealth.
Before we start.
Oh,
going-
sorry, I started.
Oh, there goes Dudley.
Push Dudley in the
who
swamp.
has a good arm?
Well,
Well,
I
I've
am
been-
not so bad at playing ball.
Yeah, I've been known to throw a little heat in my day.
Okay. However you want to put it, whoever's most qualified, perhaps to I'm gonna take the lit scroll, piece of paper that I have rolled up, and I'm basically just gonna wrap it around a rock from the ground and just be like, whoever wants to throw this over at that crystal thing so we can see them more than they can see us. That might help.
May I
Dudley.
suggest we keep it under wraps until we get close enough to actually engage the creatures?
Dudley, am I making this up,
Yeah.
or do you have a slingshot?
I do have a slingshot. Maybe if I could tie it to a rock so it has more weight on it, and then I could just sling it over there.
I believe he just said he did that, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
But to Oberdon's point, stealth.
Surprise with it, yes.
We don't want to do that now because then they'll see
They'll
us
know we're
coming.
coming.
Great. Just say the word and I'll do it. I'm gonna take this.
Yep, I'm gonna hand
Take
it
it
over
from
to
you.
him. Here you go, Dudley.
Dudley, put a cloth or a rag or something over it so it doesn't glow so eminently while we gain closer position.
Okay.
If you pull this off, there might be a badge in it for you.
Oh,
Oh wow.
oh, does that?
Oh!
I have good news. 3 of you did fantastically.
Oh,
Oberdon and Dudley are not doing well, but that's half. So on the whole, you
I
guys can
haven't
get
rolled
down
yet.
just fine.
yeah, I love how the one in like full plate mail's like, let's stealth in there.
Hey, I knew what I was doing.
So I imagine Oberdon is kind of like, to make this work, he realizes you can't see through the fog, right? So he's just slowly stepping, and every now and then you hear a as like he pulls his heavy booted foot out of the mud and it's like clap, like but eventually you guys will make it to the cliff.
I also love how Oberdon has
Awesome.
a -6 to his modifier of this move silently, which makes sense.
Is that
Oh,
with
wow.
or without the penalty from your armor?
That is including the penalty.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so technically I don't have this light radius right now. Because I sheathed the longsword. So if you want to squish my light,
I will call this.
I mean, I'm going to pull it out as soon as we jump off the cliff or whatever, but...
Yep, and you guys are also hiding the scroll, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who has the scroll?
Duds.
Doodly.
Dudley take it? Yeah.
Deadly ham. Yeah.
And while we're doing this, I'm being mindful of that bubbly goop because I don't like
Yep.
it.
You don't want to be. You just don't. You want not to like accidentally step in that. I think everybody should have a 1 foot light radius so that even in the middle of the blackness you can see your tokens. So that the cliff is right here. It's directly beneath you at this point. I didn't charge Otto a roll for going down. I'm going to say the only person who probably needs to roll to go down, I'm going to say Emery because you are a sad boy priest and not very athletic. The monk is not going to need to roll because he's a freaking monk. Otto just did it. Oberdon, you are wearing heavy armor. And it can either be Otto's honor or Hjorthurk's honor to help Dudley down without a roll because Dudley is a halfling and therefore.
Hey, I'm not gonna get in the way of like a bromance, so I'm letting Otto do it.
All
to
right.
Dudley.
If that's what you choose.
Duds and Otto on the next episode of Duds and Otto.
Please. Please. All right. I know what I'm filming this year.
Good.
Tonight on a very special blossom.
So that will be. I'm gonna call that.
Fine.
What's the skill list? 3.5. I haven't played this game in like 6 years, man.
Climb.
Climb check, yeah?
Yeah, climb. Yeah, okay, that'll do it.
All right, let me roll it. Here we go.
Climb.
-1.
Come on, Oberdon. Yeah.
I got a 10. I got a 10.
A 10 will be good enough. Satch. Get under a 10 on that climb check. Is that what you just did for me?
It's a 7. Yeah.
It's
Sachi boy. Sachi boy.
Oh, Sachi boy.
Okay.
Will Sachi boy. Will Sachi
Do you have any
boy.
high points, Satch?
I don't have any.
Okay. No pie points.
Points.
That's a great
Oh
question.
my God.
I ask people that now in real life.
Any pie points?
You guys speak high points?
Alright.
Oh god.
So you can take 4 subdual damage.
Shit.
Alright.
So with that successful climb roll, are we now down the cliff?
Yes, you will be down the cliff. I'll move the group down, or that works. You can move yourselves here.
I'm gonna try and sneak something a little selfish while I'm lying down in the dirt there.
Yeah.
Deal.
He just... Did you just throw the damn scroll out?
No.
Is Satch the one who's holding the scroll? I thought.
No, I thought Dudley was.
Dudley is.
I
Dudley
just suddenly
didn't
saw
have
the
to
scroll
because we held
appear
Dudley
on the
down.
map. I was like, what the fuck?
So, Satch, what do you have on your person?
I'm a person. It's just my regular old pack full of regular old supplies, really.
Are any of those supplies cool, useful, or important?
That's not a loaded question at all.
Yes, his bedroll. His bedroll, clearly. Very
Right,
well.
yeah, obviously.
I would hate if it got bloody.
That would be the worst fate I can imagine.
It's like basically the best thing I have.
It's his
would be
security
spell-
bedroll.
It's Blanky.
My illustrious weapon.
It's Binky.
I have nothing cool enough to punish. So
Okay, so we'll say that what happens is as you have like a symbol of Adonis, right?
Yeah.
You're going to land on it.
Mhm.
It's going to be not good. That'll be what you take the subdual damage for. And if you're not familiar with subdual damage, think of it as like a temporary lowering of your max HP that is healed like normal damages. And what happens is if you go past that temporary lower thing, you drop KO.
Okay.
So subdual damage comes at you the other way down the HP track instead of like going
Okay.
the way your hit points go. And if you cross paths, you drop unconscious. And your symbol will be cracked. That's going to take a real craftsman to fix. And if it suffers again, it'll probably break and not be usable.
That's not great.
Does it still turn?
It does until I damage it again.
Don't worry, you can have mine.
You just don't like that macro.
I'm just saying turn undead is...
Fortunately, I have 37 of them in my backpack, don't worry. No.
Okay, so you guys managed to get down the cliff without making a crap load of noise, except for poor not
For Emery.
Emery, not Remley, not Remus, Emery.
Remus.
You should have been fine. You were on your way down, but what you grabbed at the top of the cliff to like slide yourself down,
It jumped.
it was the wraith. No, the earth pulls loose and you kind of like fall with a crash on the ground.
Literally, as that happens, my character's like squinting and turning his head slowly.
So when you just see Emery just like...
Right.
What a sad
Instinctively, not that obviously I don't need to, but instinctively, Oberdon goes, shh.
You're one of those annoying characters. The Captain Obvious going on here.
But you are otherwise fine, and after a moment of like very tense fear, they don't attack.
Should we take the initiative and rush them? Destroy the evil before it has chance to do anything.
Let me do my slingshot.
I have one thing to say about that.
What?
Lord Adonis blessed me in my hole, but I got past before my time. Okay.
That was really good.
Thank you. It was a cure moderate wounds.
Draw your long sword and sling.
Oh no, what is happening?
Right. Cure moderate wounds to heal the 4 points of damage that he just ruptured his butt with. Okay.
No. The previous encounter had me basically dead already, so...
Right.
Oh, did I almost just knock you out?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
That would have been
4
so
points of
Wait,
full damage.
you took a lot of damage? I don't remember. Okay.
Yeah, he got bitch slapped by one of the zombie things.
Oh, that's
One of the
right.
wipes.
Okay.
Bad. So that's gonna help. So it
So-
undoes those first, right?
I'm going to pull my longsword once, and only once Dudley has launched the Scroll of Light.
Oh, damn it. I was like, yes, do it. And then you were like, I'm waiting. I was like, no.
No, I'm waiting, because it kind of
12
defeats...
damage
I don't want to
motion.
draw attention to us first. I would much rather Dudley's light land, a huge flash of light appears, and they're like, what the hell's that? And then I can go,
Yeah.
ha!
All right, so
All
Dudley,
right, you ready?
I don't know if you can see the grid or not.
No.
Maybe I can show you the grid through the fog.
Show me.
I don't know that you can. You can try.
Okay, so just point it where you want it to go.
Okay, guys, am I trying to aim at it or past it?
Aim to the right of it, Dudley. Aim to the right.
So like this way?
Yeah, somewhere down there.
Okay. Somewhere down this way.
Okay, so we'll say I have the square that would be best for this, right?
Okay.
Okay, now I want you to roll me a ranged attack with your slingshot.
All
It's
right.
gonna be AC 10. If you miss, I will roll dice and tell you where it goes.
All right. I'm just gonna roll my macro, so that'll roll damage too.
You
But
failed, Dudley.
Yeah, that's
you
fine.
get it. You
You will
get it.
damage that ground with that roll.
I pull my masterwork sling back, aim, close one.
I was-
Oh, no.
Oh my
Oh, no.
Oh, I rolled a 2 and a 1.
If it drops at our feet and illuminates all of us, Dudley,
have
you are
the
going in the
remaining
drink.
High points.
Oh, that's right. You got the
I
pie
have-
points.
I
Yes.
have pie. I don't know if this is gonna help. I have 6
Okay,
pie
so-
points.
What this is going to do, okay, is one of your pie points is going to be used up. I want you to
Okay.
choose either high or low.
Hi. Is that good or bad?
That's
it
good.
might be
You
good.
guessed
Yeah,
correct.
we
It's a
never
50-50.
know.
It's a 50-50, right? And if you guessed correctly, that means that the chaos favors you in this moment. So you're gonna
Yeah,
you're gonna
thank
shoot,
you.
right? And what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Is we're gonna say, yeah, let's call it 75.
The pie is alive.
75 is awesome. And half of 75 is like 38 and a half.
All right.
7.5. Yeah.
Cool.
Damn,
So
that was a
Dudley-
light spell and a half.
Wow.
What
So
the?
Dudley, you go to
Hell?
aim and you fire the shot, but it's so hard to see because of the fog, right? And what's going to happen is as you unleash it, you just so happen to bean one of these things in the head, and it's going to bounce off, and the scroll with the light and the rock is going to hit the crystal, and the energy in that crystal is going to flare up. I'm going to say they're undead. This is powerful magic light. I'm not going to roll for them, but I am going to ask everybody else to make me a reflex save.
All right.
This will burn away the fog, light the whole place up, and give you guys a surprise round.
Oh yeah.
Everybody over 10?
Damn.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Everybody
You guys are
did pretty
not
good.
blinded by that in the slightest.
Yay.
We were expecting it. It's Dudley.
Trust and roll
Blinded
time.
by the light.
And we'll put them here and here. And like the light goes up, and like there is this of wind and energy as a lightning bolt hits me in the head, strikes the crystal, right? And it just there's a surge of magic that you can feel. Your hair stands up on the back of your neck, and then both of these I keep calling them rays, they're whites, are like pulling their claws up and hissing in like startled fear, and you guys have an advantage round.
Okay, yeah, immediately I will pull out the long sword and scream as loudly as I can.
In the name of Adalith, you shall be destroyed, you disgusting malfeasance.
And I'm going to charge the one closest to me.
All right, you do that. There's not even any difficult terrain or anything.
Do you want to do the initiatives before we do that?
Yes. Just to see.
Who goes where?
Yep. And I'll just put them last because you got the pie point off of your bad roll, and the cat
Okay.
with the tail in the face. It's so cute.
And the
Kid.
thing with
Love
the-
kitties so much.
For some reason, my initiative macro doesn't work, but I just rolled it straight.
Did
Yeah,
you-
that's fine.
Did you target yourself?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
Roll 20's not working properly. Everybody who's shocked, raise their hand.
No. All right.
All right, so calling out in knit, we have anybody 20 plus?
No.
20, 19, 18, 17.
Me. 17.
Okay, that's Shagget. 16, 15, 14, 13,
Me. That's me.
12.
Mm-mm.
Oh no. 11, 10, 9.
Okay,
Yes.
me and Snugs.
Yeah.
Which one of you has the highest
Snugs.
initiative modifier?
Snugs has a +6.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, he does.
And I
Then
rolled
Snugs, then
+3.
Dud. And
You got a
that's
9 with a +6, man.
and Overdon. What did you have?
I go on an 8.
Okay.
So
and then,
kind of
and then,
last-ish.
And then they're not wraiths, they're whites. We'll go last. Okay. So Oberdon is in the process of charging. Your monk-like reflexes dwarvenly kick in. What do you do?
I am going to say absolutely nothing because Oberdon is sucking the air out of all things epic in terms of speeches. I don't know what malfeasance mean either, so do a charge attack where I basically run with my little dwarf legs, leap into the air with a. I'm going to try to punch him right in the face.
All right. Roll me face plus punch.
So it's a charge, so it's a +2, I assume.
Face plus
Charging is
punch.
+2. Correct. I do believe charging gives you -2 AC until the start of your next turn as well.
Sure. And it's evil. So,
It is.
So this. Oh,
Nice.
10.
Wow.
Wow, it's not dead yet.
damn it! I knew that. I was testing you.
I was starting. So you bolt, right? He's in the middle of like pulling out his sword. He pulls out his sword and he starts the speech, and you're like, why do they always have speeches? You just start the attack, and he's still back there yelling at the bad guys.
I hit him while he says malfeasance. I just want that to be very clear.
Malfeasance! And you will knuckles, rotten flesh, and you will feel the ripping of the weakness of that flesh and muscle as it comes with your knuckle, and this white's head will snap, and you will actually see its neck bone sticking out the side of its throat, and then it'll snap back at you, and it's not quite dead yet. Who's next? I should know that. After Shaggy goes Satch. Sad boy,
That's me.
you're up.
Sad boy's up. So Sad boy's not really good at this kind of thing. He got his little sad behind handed to him earlier. Probably going to pull out my little sap here and kind of approach this way behind Hjorthric, assuming he's probably already killed it. And I'm just doing that as an excuse to get closer to the big glowy rock thing and trying to understand better really what's happening with this. Like, is it cursed? Is it like,
Do you have
is it
Arcana?
directly affected? I do. It's like something
Roll
I get.
Arcana.
Ooh, I'm good at Arcana. It's been a minute.
Oh,
There it is.
Ooh,
There it is, boys.
Oh,
31.
bullshit.
31 knowledge Arcana.
What the fuck, man?
Now I gotta pretend I prepped.
natural 20.
I want to know if it's cursed because that's kind of what I'm banking on.
Is it cursed?
Like the area around or anything. Like
It
just,
is not cursed.
okay.
However, whatever is using that magic is definitely bad.
Okay.
This is a naturally forming position where this is precisely, the monument the dwarves had, right? This is where the barriers between realms are weakest. Technically, this is where they are specifically the weakest, and this material is actually, it's like the solidified, it's... On a crit, you know this stuff. So when you have the realms, right, there is technically a space between the realms, much like there is a space between the layers of your skin, right?
Yeah.
When the void enters a realm that has physical substance, it can't not exist. We are all made of existence. The reaction of non-existence being represented through an existential form creates this gunk. And if this gunk is left alone for a long time, say undiscovered or unused, that gunk can be harvested and used for other magical stuff, but if it's left alone, it will solidify over centuries into crystal forms. You've never seen one, but you've read about them. The thing is that you've only read about this happening in tiny pieces, like little baseball-sized chunks of this material. This you've never even dreamed might exist. And there is somebody drawing on this, and you can actually, from where you are seeing right now, you can actually follow the arcs of magic and see the very subtle changes in reality that everybody else wouldn't know to see in order to follow it to whatever it's being drawn to, or to whatever other magical sources are being involved in that. So you could literally just follow the thread and find out what it's being used for and what other sources of power are also being used for that same thing.
I look forward to doing that after Oberdon kills the one and Hjorthric finishes his thing.
After the malfeasance.
That's awesome.
All right, so
All right.
after you get that during the surprise round, we go to Snugs!
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking of doing here.
Here's what I do.
Here's what I'm thinking of doing. I want to, while they're like kind of blinded, I want to, as undetected as I can, run to here and then jump to him with like both my things coming down.
Okay, I want you to roll me a jump. If you succeed on the jump check, I'll give you advantage on the strike.
Okay, so as I'm running along the thing, I'm like, yes, because I'm like thinking in my head how epic this is hopefully going to be.
Right.
And as I get here, I just turn and leap off of the top of the cliff edge there, and jump is pretty good, so hopefully I roll high. Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Damn,
32.
son.
Ooh, that's not a nat 20, that's a 19.
No, it's a
Yeah.
19.
Oh, so
That's
close.
That's the jump of jumpiness.
All right, I'll give you
Yeah.
advantage on the attack.
All right, cool. So I'm like flying through. You're like, yes, as I'm coming down on it.
Yes!
And it's the first macro, right, Shag? I always forget.
It's the first one, yes.
Okay. I'll just roll it twice then with advantage for advantage. Okay.
Basically, my rule is you get to choose which one you want to be the thing that happens when you have advantage.
Okay.
So
the
if you
higher.
want to fail, you're allowed to.
No, I'd like the higher one if that even hits though.
I'm just saying, if you really wanted to, I wouldn't mind. That'd be okay.
If you'd like to fail epically, that's the
No,
thing.
So that's
Yes.
6 damage. All right. So is this the one that was? Oh, okay.
If it hits, I do extra sneak attack damage as well.
Except they are immune to sneak
Oh,
attack
that's right.
damage.
I'm
Because of
sorry.
dead
That's right.
shit.
I knew that. That's
Yep.
right.
Undead and plants don't like sneak attack. You don't do those sneak attack to them. So what's gonna go happen here is you come like sailing through, and this thing is still like freaking out, and it's bending over to try and not like be looking at the crystal that's glowing, and you will land on its back with both feet and bring both of your swords through this thing's skull. Boom. Both of your sword tips are like the eyeballs in this thing's head could pop out and like roll across the mud, and you pull out, yeah, and then you realize, oh, it's still moving. And on its turn, when it moves, I will ask for like balance checks and stuff. But until it doesn't
handle
think,
animal
you
or
just
something.
stand there.
Handle animal.
Like a
It's a ride check, yeah.
Yeah, it's a ride check.
I hope that before this combat is over, I literally make you roll to surf on a zombie. Like that's
Zombie surfing.
but that is the end of your actions.
Yeah.
And after Snugs, Duds.
Doodly. Where did the scroll end up?
Hey.
We need to move the scroll probably. There you go.
I just put it up.
Oh yeah. It hit. Well, actually, this is the one that he hit in the face, so it like bounced off over here.
Okay.
Okay. So the zombie's still alive then, the one that
Yeah, they're both. They're both still animate.
Cool. I'm gonna run around to the front and flank him with my sling. Oh, flank him with my sling. Here for some sneak attack
Have a flanking
damage.
bonus.
Can't get sneaks.
Can't get
Oh,
sneak attack.
can't get sneaks.
He's dead.
However, a
Oh,
flank
right.
creature- I think a flank creature has -2 AC.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
I think that's what I'm going to rule for the time being until chat corrects me. So quickly roll before I learn something.
I'm
different.
trying. Back up a little bit here. There you go.
Ooh, what?
It's a good hit, Duds. Just, you know.
Congratulations! The first singular point of damage of the campaign.
One.
Wait, why do I have a -1 plus?
You smell.
Okay. Fine.
Is it
Because
straight?
your strength bonus is crap.
Because you're a pussy.
Oh, that's why. Yep.
Oh man.
You're a
Because
small boy
Boy
that doesn't
Scout
hit
was not
very
trained.
hard.
I'm
You
trying. I do
Kill
have a
that
negative.
cuticle, Jane. You
I have a
killed that
-2
cuticle.
on my strength in miscellaneous. Was that something that happened earlier?
I'm
Is
a
that-
real boy.
Can't remember.
Oh, you also have
Oh,
the
negative levels.
You have a negative levels
Oh,
as
that's
well.
right. I have
because-
negative levels.
Okay, so yeah,
that's why.
so you come rushing in, right?
Yeah.
And Otto is like balancing like a badass on top of this zombie, right? And you're like, "Oh, I'll help Otto." So you run in, right? And you're like point blank with your slingshot, or no, you came in with not with the slingshot, with your short sword,
Slingshot.
right? Oh, with your slingshot, because you come in with point blank and you shoot it. And we'll say the reason you don't do much damage is because you're too good. You're like, oh, go for the eyes, boo, go for the eyes, because that's what you do. Especially
for
since
the
you
eye,
have a
you
low
blink.
profile, and you're looking up as it's coming down. So like you get right in its face and you let loose point blank, and you'll shoot your rock back through the hole that Otto just carved. And so like Otto, you'll be like surfing on this thing, and all of a sudden this rock is, and there'll be like blood splatter like up you, right? Like. But unfortunately, the wound was already done, and all you did was kind of like make that more of an annoyance. And like you feel like you could have maybe pulled back harder and maybe done something more with it, but you can feel there's this weakness, like when you have low blood sugar, and it's starting to spread across your back. And for just a split second, as you look up to Otto after firing that shot, there is a flash where you're pretty certain what you actually saw before you did your double take was Otto's face was melting. Like, coming off. And then you blink like, what the? And he's fine.
Otto!
Yeah.
Your face!
Yeah.
That's all I say in my turn.
after duds. Oberdon. Malfeasance.
I'm seriously rethinking everything I was going to do now.
We go ahead.
So I'm.
The only thing is that you have to say malfeasance.
I already said all that. The speech happened.
Okay, the speech is okay.
But as I was
Take back the
about
charge,
to
take
rush slowly to where Dudley is now standing, where exactly I needed to be, I.
No, there's still plenty of room there.
No, you don't understand, Dudley.
Okay.
You just screwed us inadvertently.
I just screwed us.
Yeah, that's why we need to stay in the.
Why would a ranged character run into melee?
Dudley.
Because I wanted to help.
He's a
I
better
wanted to
boy than
help.
he is anything else.
All right, I'm actually going to rush to this square instead. So I'm going to run down here and attack the one that the monk is attacking.
Okay.
Wasn't my original intention, but I am in my Iron Guard Glare, which means this creature now has -4 to hit any of my opponents. See, because, if I could have actually got in the middle, I could have drawn them both to me, and then they would have both had -4. But now somebody's in the way, Dudley.
Are we supposed to anticipate your attacks? I'm sorry.
Oh, based on the last combat, maybe. Who knows?
The next encounter I put
Or
you guys
you are the
together.
worst, dude.
We're like one combat encounter in.
I know,
as a
I'm
team.
just messing. And, okay, because I charged, I'm not using any maneuvers or whatever, because that's the thing, so basically I'm just charging in and trying to
Yeah,
bounce
it's a full round action, so go ahead and make your shiny sword swing.
Sword
at
of
+2.
justice, sword of justice. Alright. Here we go. Let's see, no flanking.
Correct.
No additional
You would have
attack
to have,
bonus, no
you'd
nothing.
have to
So
have
here we go. Poof.
Ooh.
18
That's
for
a
10.
lot of dice.
Wow, you actually you don't kill it,
Ah,
but so I envision this as Oberdon like charging in, right, with his glowing sword,
Yeah.
like bellowing the righteous incantations and declarations.
Screaming
of the
malfeasance
gods.
numerous times.
Malfeasance, as he like charges in, right? And so Hjorthurk, you know what's happening here. You've done this before, so you're fighting, right? You punch him upside the face, it snaps and it's like growling in your face, and you just duck. And as Oberdon comes charging in with every ounce of his strength and the running momentum that his full plate has, great. He can't stop as easily as he would like to, right? But he can swing that sword. So I'm envisioning like this big haymaker baseball bat swing with the sword, so that the white is looking at you, and then all of a sudden you just duck and blade comes right through. You're gonna take the top of this thing's head clean the fuck off, and like its skull will just like flip and go arcing through the air and hit, and the wraith will be like, "What the shit?" As it like reaches up and and it's like clawing at the inside of its own skull, and that has clearly upset it. But it's not quite dead. And it is now my turn.
here we go.
Top of the round.
Top of the round,
Alright.
teammate. So at this point, I'm actually going to roll initiative for them. Anybody get any? Yes.
Oh.
Ouch.
So Otto, do you have points in balance, bro?
Obviously, that's kind of my whole thing.
So I need you to roll me surfing, man.
Roll for surfing. Okay.
Roll to surf that zombie.
All right,
Yes.
man. Shaka gnarly, shaka, bro. Hey,
Oh, look at,
Hey.
it's disgusting how good you are at this stuff, even with a
Right?
reasonably
I
mediocre
love it.
roll.
This build, man.
How do you plus 13?
You're asking me to do all the things that I'm like the best in right now.
Let's do all the things you want to do.
Sword sages get a shit ton of skill points as well.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Lucky
so when I
bastard.
design encounters, I don't take your classes into account. I only take the roles you're going to fill. So I know you have a tank. I know you have a ranged attacker. I know you have a support class who's going to cast things, right?
Well,
I don't
ranged
know-
attacker. is
Ranged
Jane.
attack. I mean, hey, if a ranged attacker is a skill point, like that's not on me, right? So I set up battlefield's about to happen. I'm not planning for Otto to surf on a zombie. It just happens.
I don't know how you couldn't think that would happen, to be honest.
Right? So what's
I'm
gonna
just
happen
waiting for a
as-
bus to show up and Sandra Bullock's driving it.
This white is gonna make an attack at. It's gonna make its one attack at Otto, not Otto, Dudley. Wrong part of the dynamic duo.
Hey! You
Oh.
missed, sir!
What's your AC?
19!
I do not hit that shit.
Dang.
What's your say? 6!
So it lunges.
What do you think?
Yeah, it
Okay.
lunges in like with a gargle and a hiss, and it's almost like it can't see straight, but it still seems to sense where the delicious blood is, and it almost seems to
Ooh,
react.
That's me.
Yeah, and as it
Delicious blood.
realize that not only is this thing bloodthirsty, but it's
Huh?
drawn to whatever is on your back, right? And as you
What's on my
lean,
back?
you can see its head turn to trace your back. And as it lunges and slashes, Otto, you're on top of this thing. Not only are you doing you do a quick hop, you're balancing on top of it like you would roll a log. So as it spins, you're just like, and you don't lose your balance. But also, you kick the arm that it slashes with out of the way, and your kick is why it misses as it attacks Dud. So you pull like a really badass looking like balance thump. Nope. It's you tap 2 blue. That's what happens here.
Okay.
And then the other one rolled not so impressive 11, so it'll go before Snugs and Dud, which means that Shagit goes and then Satch goes.
Yeah.
So this white in front of me has half his head missing, right?
Yeah, like the eyes up, gone.
Okay, so I'm gonna move away from the wild man with the long sword with the 5-foot step. So just
Yep,
I'm like
35 step.
repositioning, and I'm going to do a front kick to like the midsection or upper thigh because on my height difference, I imagine that would be where it would roughly be.
Yep.
And then so it's a flurry of blows attack, and then I'm gonna follow it up with a spinning like elbow, trying to catch it like as it moves forward to hit it in the side and like the side or chest or whatever.
All right, let her rip.
Yeah. This is not gonna work at all. I feel it already. I just know how this goes.
All right.
It's always the attack you put
Got
the
this,
most
Shaggy.
effort in describing that
I
whiffs
know.
like every time.
Ooh.
Huh?
Ooh.
Those both hit.
And so
Nice.
that's 2 of these as well. Because I hit twice.
Oh, nice, dude.
Oh,
Lovely.
shoot.
So
Dang.
Yeah, you
All
done,
the
dude.
so Shaggy, do you
You
want
done
to
dead,
describe your
dude.
kill here?
Yeah, so I'm gonna kick it in the thigh so it leans forward, and then with my elbow, I'm just gonna blast its chest, and it's gonna explode out the back, all the spine bits
Nice.
and
Right
back
on
flesh.
to overdone.
Because I sure as hell am not describing it like Jane did last time. I did it, and it did a thing.
I did it.
Time.
I kick it in the upper thigh to make it move forward.
Yeah.
This is
Elbow
how we
in
roll,
the
Jane.
chest,
You only have to
split
fail at
up.
anything one time, and it will ever last
And
forever.
the dead heart thuds on the ground by the scroll. There you go.
All right. Yeah. So and the body collapses and reverts to being a villager.
A little child.
Oh.
It was not.
Look what you
we
did.
haven't gotten to that segment of the campaign yet. I'm saving the really horrific stuff for later.
Great.
All right.
Oh, okay.
This is just rotten zombies. We haven't touched the bad parts.
Touch those bad bits.
Touch those bad bits. All right. So Satch, you're up.
I'm gonna do something.
Oh God, that's not good.
Probably foolhardy.
All right.
I'm gonna run up to this thing. Because there's a clear path, yeah?
God. Okay.
I'm gonna hold my hands out and start to cast Magic Circle against evil.
Ooh.
And then I'm gonna put it right on the thing
Okay.
and cast it into it.
Gonna cast magic circle. Oh, that's badass. Okay, no, I know what happens. You're gonna need to cast it. which is an action, right? Is there a roll for that, or is it just you cast it? I think it's just you cast it.
Yeah.
Here's a really long description of what it is in case you need to know.
No, it's okay. Anything else would need to make a willpower check.
Yeah.
But we're going to do this because I know that's happening, and you just gave me the cool reason for that, so I can do this, and then that can shift over there. We can do this. All right, so I do need you to roll me a fortitude save.
It's good. I hope I pass out, because that'd just make it better.
So I don't have to be awake to see the consequences of my folly.
It's actually pretty good. What?
Yeah, clerics have a decent save.
Oh yeah, you good, man.
All right. So here's what happens,
Nice
right?
roll, Satch.
So you start the incantation. It's a very methodical, very ritual process in your head, which is how it's supposed to work. And you put your hands out, and there is this moment where as you're putting your hands out, you're going to realize just by, you know how like when you put your hand on like a Tesla ball, like one of those, you put your hand and your hair stands up, right?
Hey.
You realize you shouldn't touch that because you can feel the static energy, and it's already almost unbearably hot before you even physically touch it, which is fine. You can still cast the spell properly, but you're gonna realize that touching this is bad. And also, what's going to happen is as you do that, one, but not the other of the two major effects drawing on this thing, will suddenly have to clash with your spell, so that your magic circle of evil, which is like I envision is like a kind of like a white and black, because you have the white and the life and death, like glowing runes around the base of this crystal. There's one of those effects is not passing through and is starting to clash and spark, and it smells like ozone and burnt toast in the air as it starts to like crackle and make a big flashy show of not breaking through your barrier. Whoever is on the other end of that spell definitely knows, because their batteries just got yanked.
Yes.
And because you crit
Yank
this,
that
I'm
battery.
going to tell you this. Because you crit your previous check, I'm going to tell you this. There is another battery.
Oh,
Otherwise,
okay.
the spell would collapse entirely.
Okay.
So that is Satch. If you had failed, I would have actually just knocked you out and like sent you hurtling through the air.
Oh yeah.
and break the little holy symbol, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just break.
And well,
Well
you
done,
killed the
Satch.
one that was gonna go next. So it's dead. On its turn, it lies there being dead. And then next up, it's Snugs.
Come on, Snugs.
All right. So I want to. I'm just gonna roll to see if I hit it, because if I do kill it, I do have a way I would like to
All right.
finish it. So we'll see if I just can hit it though. Do I get flanking for this?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh.
16.
All right. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna call that close enough.
Okay.
You guys have literally beat the crap out of two of these things already. Nobody is even really wounded too much. And I'm cool in taking this as a DM being like, yeah, eventually you'd be able to kill it, and it's just time that we're sinking. So
Okay.
I'll give you the killing blow.
Okay. So as I was up there balancing, and I see the other one get its head destroyed, I'm like, oh, that's the trick. So I kind of put my foot on top of this one and go, wipe out!
Oh God, no! Oh my God!
and like,
I hated that.
down forward as much as I can to like send my weight down, so I land like on the head as I kind of knock it over, like hopefully just smushing it onto the
Full
ground like a rotten
body crunching,
Yeah.
gushing, gooey, warm. Oh, it's all over you now. Just like it bursts like a ripe Uga melon dropped from a great, great height.
And I'll look over at Duz and be like, yeah, like put a high five up for him.
There's like blood that's splattered onto my face. And
Yeah, I'm covered in zombie brains. Like, ha
blinking as the brains like drip down my face.
Don't leave me hanging, Duz.
Right. I can't see very well. Like, yeah. Okay. All right. Great job.
And with that, we can break the initiative order.
I love this.
All right, yeah. So
This is
Oberdon will
horror
spin
campaign,
around,
folks.
anticipating that he's going to have to run over there and realize. So Oberdon instead is going to kind of rush forward to maybe here, still in his stance, and kind of look to the left, look to the right, sword ready in case any more come rushing out of the darkness towards us.
Yep, and as long as you're in this radius, you can actually see the ground, and there's no fog stopping you, so you would actually see something sneaking up on you as well.
Ooh, where is it? Where is it?
I mean, if it was.
Oh, okay.
There is nothing. You can thank the blessing of the pie points for that.
Lord of the Pies.
Well, that was the thing.
There's another thing.
Where?
Can I still kind of tell where the lines were going?
Yeah, you can still follow those.
Okay. I suspect it to be coming from whichever way it's coming from. I don't know which way to point.
Yeah.
That way. This wordly.
This wordly.
This Woodley.
West. It's coming directly from the west.
The West.
The Snorthweast.
The Northwest. Why is that funny? That shouldn't be funny.
Emery?
We'll say that it's off in this direction. So, to the east, a little less
Okay.
east, a little more east.
Emery?
Yeah.
What is that thing?
This is a break in the veil. This is what happens when a lot of missing and chaotic ley energy just is left to ferment. It turns into a pillar of basically pure energy, and someone's using it, or was, to fuel whatever's going on here. We need to stop the other one.
Oh, so you stopped one.
For now.
Okay, so let's go get the other one then. What are we
Alright.
waiting for? Let's go.
Is the scroll still intact? The white scroll?
You know what? Pie Point said yes.
The pie has spoken.
Right.
I'll
Make
pick it up
sure
and give it
our
to Dudley again and just be like, it's a working thing.
Right, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Alright,
I need
let's
to-
roll.
Which direction was the other one in?
The other, Emery
Eastwardly.
indicated, for reasons you have no idea, that it's coming from due. Never eat soggy weasels. East.
All right. In that case, then, unless anybody else is rushing forward, I am
I
going
think
to
it's two.
maneuver up here and around this thing, giving it a sideways glance and a curious stare.
So, formations or no? We're just going.
I like formations.
Hey, you guys are gonna tell people like what I just did, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You'll tell people who you come across, like the good deeds that I did.
I'll try to.
All right,
Okay,
thanks.
I
guys.
say Oberdon at the lead, me and Emery, and what's your name? God dang it.
Oh,
That after all your good deeds, it's the ultimate diss because he still doesn't even know your name. Oh.
And
Oh.
Shorthark in the back. Let's go.
yeah. Don't worry about me. I'll
For
be
once, I agree with the
everywhere.
boy.
I deliberately want to avoid all that rough ground because
Yeah.
So there is as you guys are moving forward, you guys can like walk around the rough ground. That's just fine. You will come to a point right up here at the edge of where you can currently see, or over here-ish,
Oh.
right? Where the place you need to go is on the other side of this water. But the water definitely seems off. Like the whole place the water is corrupted, and you need to get across the water. Unless you have a way to walk on water or whatever, you're gonna have to wade through it. It's only knee deep, or waist high for the halfling. But Oberdon, you've been doing this a long time. Wading through knee deep corruption sounds like you're not certain what's bad, but that smells like bad to you.
could I throw Dudley over there?
Wow.
It only takes 1 session or 2 for most tables to reach the halfling tossing or the
Right.
dwarf tossing portion. You
I'm
guys
not going to try to
take
toss the
this is
dwarf.
session
He's too
4.
heavy.
Yeah.
Dudley,
Talk to Dudley.
Dudley. Back there in those incessant pools, did you notice anything? Have you seen anything that might lead you to believe that Remlin of the Rankin Samuelson is back there?
Well, Rankin! I'm gonna start screaming it.
I'm going to look around this area to see if I can see anything that looks like... Because this ground is fairly swampy and moist.
Yep.
So I'm thinking someone that led a mule through here, we would leave pretty prominent tracks, right?
Yep. You did. Those were the tracks that you were following. Was by the time you reached this point, it looks like whatever fight Remuel was Samuel.
Remule will work.
Rankin.
It's a short,
No,
you know, it's a mule and its name is Rankin. Ren Mule.
Rankinson, right? Remuel, yeah. Okay, so at this point, Rankinson stopped fighting so hard, by drag. You don't see any more skid drag marks. Clearly, still unhappy and still being a stubborn ass, literally. But he seems to have decided at this point in his journey that it was probably better for him to pretend to want to go at the very least, or communicate to whatever is pulling him that I will walk. And so that will be put, those tracks will be going in a slightly different direction, more to the northwest,
Mm-hmm.
in a thiswardly direction, as opposed to the thiswardly direction that you are following this magical trail.
Northeast.
Northwest for Rankinson, and due west for the.
I propose we go to where Rankin Samuelson is, as it's mobile and the other location is probably something that is not going to move.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. We gotta rescue him quick.
Yeah, lead the way, guys.
If
Okay.
that's the case, then I am going to go in the direction of the Rankin Samuelson tracks.
Okay, there is up here a much closer portion of this tainted water for you to traverse. You could probably jump this. Unless you roll very badly.
Probably could.
Unless you roll very badly. I'm gonna call this if you get into a DC 7 jump check, you'll hit the water.
Yeah, I can do that.
Don't forget you get I think it's plus I think it's +2, +5 for running start. We'll go +2 for now.
Yep, that's why I'm gonna start back here.
Yep.
And I am literally,
luck,
I am
everybody.
gonna take a running charge, and I'm gonna sheath my longsword first so that I can get maximum arm movements.
Yep.
And as much as my plate mail will allow me, I will run as fast as I can, and then try to hurl my middle-aged old form across.
DC 7 +2 for the running start.
All right. Okay. So I will add a +2 to this jump check then after the roll. Okay. So this is never good, but we'll see. Yeah.
Oh.
So with a +2, that's a 1.
Oh.
With a +2, that is a 1.
I guess I found my bridge.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
All right, roll me a will save.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe you guys can use me as a stepping stone.
Well.
Alright, a will save. Okay.
That's my bridge, yep.
Fortunately, my will isn't terrible.
It's DC 15.
Oh! 10.
1 negative level.
Oh, you son of a gun. You son of a gun!
Welcome.
The same cursed taint that you have seen, that black veins. So you go to jump, right? And as you go to jump, again, the treacherous earth that is rotting even as you explore it gives way. And what was supposed to be the final leaping step isn't what it looks like. And there's a pocket of bubble underneath it. And so your foot punches down instead of launching you, and you'll fall face first into the water. Now, it's, again, only knee deep, right? So you can immediately push up, and as you push up, the water is falling off your face, and you look down, and you can already feel underneath your armor the veins pulling up, and you can scramble and get to the other side just fine.
Okay.
Before it gets too much. So that's just one thing.
Are you okay? That didn't look too pretty.
The bank is a lot slippier than it looks, and I do not feel entirely well.
I'll keep that in mind, and I'm going to back up and do a running jump as well.
All right, jump with +2.
Yeah. Oh.
Nice.
Do you want to do like a cool ballerina spinning backflip on your way through?
No, no. I'm not as graceful as Otto, because Otto will definitely do something like that. I just do a nice jump. I'm like a long distance jumper, and I land firmly on the other side.
Yeah, which is, it's really, it's more impressive to see a dwarf doing the long jump than it is somebody else, right? Because he's got a, okay. Fine.
I'm gonna back up and be like, come on. Just don't do what he did, do what I did.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure I get clear out of the way so that they've got plenty of room to land.
I'm gonna do a running jump as well now. With see how far my little legs can take me.
Yeah, and
Is that
Make
good
it.
enough?
So close, but you make it.
I made it. Okay.
I'm gonna take the moment to gird my loins.
I actually know
People
what that
don't
means.
take enough time to gird their
Gird your
loins these
loins.
days. They just
You know,
don't do
just
it.
wrap it around the
you
back.
just-
of the head.
That actually means the thing. It's where you take your robe and
Yeah.
you bunch it up correctly, and it's kind of like putting on a diaper, but
Yeah, turn it into a diaper.
it's kind of like the
You get your
ancient
panties in a
version
wad.
of like hold my earrings. I'm up. Lay into this dude is when you
Yeah,
gird
yeah.
your loins. Yeah.
So I'm girding my loins because this is going to be bad.
yeah, and Otto's just kind of sitting by the edge, is almost like a coach, sort of, like kneeling down, like, all right, come on, and like gonna tell you exactly like the perfect moment to jump so you get the maximum distance.
Only do you have
Okay.
persuasion?
What's that?
Do you have persuasion?
Me?
Yeah.
No, would that be under skills? I don't see persuasion here. as
Yeah,
a-
it's skill.
It's under.
I haven't played this edition so long.
No, it's not there.
I need to know which skill I want to make this. It's a social skill. No,
Yeah, I'll tell you what I have, but I don't know.
I got the list right here.
Okay.
I think it'd be diploma.
Yeah,
Probably
call
diplomacy.
Then I
maybe.
do not have diplomacy.
Do you have perform?
No.
All right. Roll me diplomacy then. That's fine.
Boy.
It still uses your charisma modifier and things. That's the important part. If you get over a 15, I will give Henry an additional +2 to this jump because you're coaching him,
This is
and
gonna
the
be
fact
a
that that'll
hell of a
actually be
roll.
useful will haunt the both of you forever. That's my
Ooh!
a 15 on the nose. So Emery,
I needed that.
you're like girding your loins, and Otto is doing that thing where like he's coaching you. So Otto, what does your coaching sound like?
Okay. So when you get to the end, you need to extend through the heel, through the calf, all the way to your thigh as you explode over the water. Imagine you're light as a feather as you coast to the other side of the.
So at what point do I attack the ground? Have I been doing this wrong?
Yes. Just think. Okay. Have you ever wanted to go to outer space? Think of the science in outer space.
Some science here.
What the heck? Think of the science in outer space!
Okay, I'm ready.
No, I have a better.
And so Emery, you have this moment, right, where like, under no circumstances do you ever want to be in a situation where Otto actually had a point to teach you something, and yet you are in a position where like something about what he said, whatever it is that you think clicks for your character, clicks, and he actually coaches you, and it actually helps, and you make it across.
Let's see Otto fall in the water now.
And then you just see Otto just spin like on a heel and just like barely push off.
Holy shit!
It's like,
Yeah, it's just like all right, and just like wheep, plop,
No, man.
right next to you.
It looks like now we're all just on some small island.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead because this is the edge of the map. So we're gonna move into a slightly theater of mind thing for where you guys are headed next. Okay. You're following the tracks of Rankin. But what I wanted to make certain there was two ways that this could go. If you had coached Emery and it hadn't worked, that was a moment of character dynamic development. If you coached Emery and then it worked, that's also what Emery would probably describe as an unfortunate moment of the development of your relationship. I needed to know how that was going to happen, so I gave it some dice.
There you go.
Yeah. So you can follow these tracks. They're fairly clear. At some points, it becomes obvious that Rankin is giving one of Rankin's temper tantrums when he gets real cross.
Yeah, I feel sad for them.
And then it keeps moving, and you'll manage to deduce that there is someone that is actively, physically pulling him along. And from what you can guess from like when the hoofs drag in, they're strong enough to just say, "I don't care if you're walking, you're coming with." So they got some beef on those bones for them. And eventually, who's in the front?
Not Emery.
Well, I think it was announced or decided that I would be up front, so you can assume that I am. Yeah.
Roll me spot.
All right. Right, Squeegee. Right. Spot. Here we go. Ooh, 23. Nice. I have vision.
You are walking, and then right here, there is a slight flicker, and you realize there is something between you and where you are going. Just barely. And you will stop moving forward and pull away. Almost like there's perfectly clean glass there. Almost.
Right. Then I will, as I kind of back up, I'll reach forward with the longsword and just like with the flat of the blade, be like, and see if there's something I can tap.
Tink, and then visible ripples. There's a force field there.
So when I tapped it, did it feel like there was obvious resistance? Like,
oh yeah, it's real solid.
Okay.
And tap, there's a force field. It seems to be shaped like a dome, a very large one that seems to go big circle around. There's a cave there, barely hidden behind, like forcibly somebody's pulled like bushes and branches to try and mask it. But you can definitely see that there's lighting behind those that kind of illustrates a basic rough cave entrance outline. But there's this force field.
All right, so after tapping it, I'll just put one hand in the air and say, "Stop! There's something here. Some kind of what would appear to be an arcane field. Emery, do you have any ideas?"
I'm going to keep writing off your crit, Emery. This sort of field is intensely thick. It's very intense. Like, you're kind of like looking at the way that the magic emanates and ripples in the air in its aura. This is no normal force field. This sort of spell, definitely doable, but not with this sort of sustenance or power. It has the combination that you're not supposed to be able to have of long running and also really strong. You would need some very powerful source of magic of some kind to be drawing on to sustain this.
Okay.
I think we need to destroy that obelisk back there. Do you think it's feasible, Emery, that it is fueling this field of force?
There's another. It's. I blocked that one off. I'm almost certain of it. The other one that's over in this direction might be the source of it, yes. I don't know how we can destroy something that if we touch will probably kill us, but
how do you kill
we need to get it out of the wrong hands.
All right. If I kind of walk along this ledge here.
Yep. Just to be clear here, this map that you're on is no longer where your characters are. You've progressed past this specific map.
Okay, so we're a good ways off from here. Okay.
Yeah, this is like 15 minutes further into the woods.
Ah, perfect.
I just didn't have a map set up for it.
Oh, that's fine. What is the ground like between here and the direction south that we believe the other force of power was?
The other force of power seems to be like it's more swamp, so there's more tainted water, there's more mud, and so on. That's where you're gonna guess that the other source of power is based on Emery's description of what you were seeing. Here, you are on solid, good, grassy land that you're gonna guess is just the mounds of dirt on top of whatever rock formation this cave burrows into.
Yeah, based on the interaction with the nasty swampy water, I don't know that we want to go wading through that crap.
Yeah, so basically, it's not that the water is there are like patches of land you need to do more jumping. There's only one spot, and that was from the direction you were approaching before, where the only way to go, it seemed, was through a large expanse of it. The marshes aren't as consistently watered or dried as to make it impossible for you to traverse without picking it up. But alternatively, you might want to like go back and buy some magical galoshes or something if you do want to retreat and come back later. That said, you know that Rankin Samuelson is in the cave, and whoever got him there wanted him alive because they gave up the unconscious dwarf for the angry donkey.
Weird.
Why don't we just punch our way through, you know?
If you think you can punch your way through this field, Eothric, go right ahead.
No,
He does.
Eothric,
Watch him
don't.
actually do it.
Well, I mean, you
It's a
know,
bad idea.
I've read my fair share of ancient texts that you humans started with the monastic tradition.
I mean, the ones that stayed with once upon a time.
We didn't translate that portion. I went into the meats of it, not the thesis, you know. But you know, our hands have been I've been punching stones since I was a kid.
Please,
So-
go right ahead.
So I'm gonna approach the invisible field
I'm going to take several steps away from him when he does this.
with my magical hand of awesomeness. I'm gonna try to punch it.
All right,
As he's
roll-
doing that,
Roll
like
me an
right
attack.
when he's about to throw the punch, can I cast Dispel Magic on the spot he's punching just to see if it works? And if so, then it makes Yother think he's magical.
Yes, you can.
I am
That should be
magical.
important.
All right, so here's the beautiful punch of awesomeness.
Ooh!
Okay.
Right.
And here's the Dispel Magic on that. I don't know if it's
Oh,
gonna
but
work.
that roll of 7.
Yeah.
Dispel again, 17.
So, remember how when Oberdon tapped it with a sword, it rippled?
Yeah.
It reacts to physical impact, specifically by sending it back. Little taps, not a problem. You make a giant ripple, right? So, like, you make a big splash.
Oh, 4 damage is not giant. That's what you're
But the only reason it's not double back at you is because a player just cast Dispel Magic at the spot you were punching, right? So you punch, and like it bends under your fist like water because you have a magic punch, right? And then as you realize, oh, it's not gonna crack, oh, it's bending, it snaps back, and the sheer snap back with it gives a clap of like a miniature clap of thunder from the sudden boom, and it knocks you back and
It's Screech. I don't know if it makes a difference, but it's actually a 17.
Oh, is it a 17?
The actual skill, the actual roll is, 17, I think.
Does that change things?
Targeted dispel.
Take
Yeah.
no damage, punch through, and then when you pull back, it'll fix itself because it's drawing on the big other thing. But there will be no damage, and instead it'll be you will punch, and everybody will physically see you go through the thickness of the bear. It's about that thick. It's like 6 inches, and you will punch all the way through, and you will have that like moment where you just feel the amazingness of like.
I did that.
And you rip your fist back, and then it regenerates, basically. But yeah, you told that magic dome to fuck off.
Well, if we all do it, you know, maybe we could push each other through. No?
I think it'd probably be a lot better if we went and just took care of this thing. After all, even if we do manage to push our way through, do we really want to be trapped on the other side?
But How did Rankin get pulled through? See, that doesn't make sense.
Well, I would anticipate that the person on the
What
other
a force.
side is controlling the force field and choose to allow himself through, or it was not here at the time.
So we just have to come up with, like, the password, right? Dwarven doors, you see, you say a word or a phrase, and they will respond. If that'd be like that.
Yes, I don't know if that would be the case, but, do you have any potential idea of what the word might be? Out of the million possible words and the numerous possible languages.
I'm sure I could probably curate up a pretty good list.
Can I try to do a spellcraft on this to see what type of spell effect is on it? Okay. Oh my god.
Yeah, you know all about this.
Okay,
You
yeah,
know
what is
all
it?
about this.
Mhm.
The thing
Oh,
about
God.
passwords on most mages who construct these things are very clever, but you've cast a few spells in your time, and like once you realized that you could borrow people's spells, you had to know a lot about this stuff. So when you looked it up, you remember reading at one point there was a force field spell that specifically opened a hole in itself when you gave the right password, but if you tried a password and it wasn't the right one, the force field would set you on fire.
Okay, stop! We don't want to go around just saying any password willy-nilly, alright? You know what's gonna
Willy-nilly?
happen
That
if you
sounds
do
like an
that?
interesting password.
I could have sworn you would say stop hammer time. Sorry. Okay.
Alright, there's no guessing. Trust me on this one.
Then the only course of action is to go down to the other source of power and disrupt it.
The Duds has spoken, so let's be off.
Dudley, where did you get that information?
I've dealt with many secret passwords before in my Adventurers Guild.
It's the one they used to use that girls didn't know, so that the girls couldn't get into the clubhouse.
Trust me on this.
Oh, did you
But
have
if
to...
what you're saying is true, wouldn't we all be, like, suffering for speaking around it? How would the wall know
Well, you
whether or
usually
not
have
we're
to
saying
do
a password?
A certain way you knock on the door, so I'm sure there's some kind of movement involved. But I could steal the
air
spell
quotes.
effect and see. But trust me, I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to touch it and try to steal the spell effect to gather what it is.
I hadn't considered that, and that is a cool enough idea that I might actually
Yeah,
do
that is a
something
cool
neat with
idea.
it. That's
Yeah, that's
what spell?
Make that a
naivety
thing.
is going to either get him killed here or open the door.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
no, like
both.
I am so okay with this being unbalanced.
Here we go. I posted what. Oh, hold on. I have to.
Yeah.
This is what
What?
steal effect
Oh
is.
shit! No,
if you
we're
wanna
not giving you a level 8 spell.
Scroll up.
Yeah, Dudley used to be the chairman of Gross. For all of you that have Calvin and Hobbes references in your head.
Okay, I'm much more comfortable with this. So you won't be able to do the dome itself, and you won't shut the dome down because, again, it's feeding on a very powerful magical source. But I will let you hold one copy of Wall of Force.
Ooh.
Nice.
For perspective,
Okay.
that is a level 5 sorcerer spell.
Okay, so I
Normally you
stole
would not
a
have.
spell.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Gonna
It is
blow
a
his
spell.
tiny mind.
You don't normally have the power to hold a spell this big, but because
Yeah.
it's being powered by this magic, and I was impressed by your idea, the rules. Wall of Force is normally wouldn't have this until you're a level 10 character. This is like almost twice your level,
Oh,
right? The rules we could talk about in a bit. But basically, it's a telekinetic wall of force, right?
Okay,
That you can set up. Yours will be weaker than this is, and you are going to feel the buzzy
okay. I'm
power.
gonna go. Oh, wow! This is the most powerful spell I've ever held.
So he's like a walking friar? Like he's just going to be walking like...
What I will say is having that much energy in you is intense, and so whenever you're doing a roll that's going to require some precision or some concentration, I'll be charging you a penalty for that as long as you have it.
All right.
But I envision Dudley as like,
I'm just gonna start pacing back and doing a lot. Listen, okay, that's a wall of force, so we can't get by it, but we're gonna have to get rid of it somehow, so I'm just gonna pace back and forth. I'm constantly yapping on about this spell.
Like too much caffeine has happened.
Yeah, immediately. Feeling pumped.
Otto's gonna look around and be like, yeah, all right. Like totally loving the energy now that Dudley's giving here. Yeah, so yeah, let's go. So, we need to essentially go to this other place. So let's go. What are we waiting for?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. Onward
Excellent.
march.
Somebody other than me pick out a safe path.
No.
It should probably be me, I think.
Did I
I don't know.
turn on
Probably.
dynamic?
Yeah, I'll
Yes!
take it.
Okay, so now I copy paste the whole party over. Oh, that's on the. This needs to go to the map layer. What is that doing on the token layer? That's not good.
Chat. Good one, Gore. I like it. I pictured it.
7 cookies too, I will.
All right, so at this point, I think if we wanted to take a small break here, like if we wanted to take a 5-minute break or so,
Yeah.
to pee,
Yeah.
snack,
Yes.
etc., now's a good time because I have to argue with Roll 20,
Snack
and it's
time.
not.
Alrighty.
Chocolate milk time. Yeah.
Chocolate milk time. Alright, well, we'll do the normal.
You should be able to see. Let me make the grid a little less visible. Darkness a little thicker for me. Hit OK.
Night, Paul.
Yes, you can. Okay, so it's not. What is that? Why is that? What is glowing?
It's
there?
moved
That's-
way too far.
Oh wait. Yes. Okay, you can see. There's another eyeball there. If you scroll off to through the map, there's also a small spot that is
Oh, I see
glowing
it.
for
There we go.
hashtag reasons. I don't know why there's a
So
light
this
source
what
there.
what you guys in chat are seeing. This is what our characters can see to the southeast of us.
So there's a couple more jumps, and Oberdon checks the ground with his sword before making them, right? And you guys eventually come to a point where, from this point on, crossing is going to be something I am going to worry about, but to narratively transfer us to the point where you're like, we see the crackling blue crystal spire. And you know there is more swamp between you and it, but it is very dark, and the fog is still rolling around, so you can't see too far. Sitting before you is a rickety, old bridge that was probably just sturdy enough to trust before the swamp had been infected with rot, but now this like rope and wooden pathway that was supposed to get you over what you're guessing, because there's a bridge here, you're guessing the water is deeper at this point. You're guessing that this shouldn't be something you trust explicitly now with the whole place rotting.
Yeah. I look at the bridge and then glance down at my metallic form. And give a decided,
How high is the bridge from the water?
We'll say there's about 2 feet between the surface of the water.
So it's a low bridge, right?
Yeah, it's a low bridge. Enough that if you were heavy and you stood on it, you wouldn't get your feet wet.
Got it.
Okay.
I suppose we should try to go across one at a time and test it.
Should we start with maybe the heaviest person?
I think that's a stupid idea, to be honest, Dudley, because if it collapses, then none of you get to benefit from it.
If not, if we're going with the lightest person, step aside.
Do we really want to trust the bridge and allow the boy to go across first? But perhaps Octavius should go first, and then if he goes across successfully, Dudley, then you can go.
But I'm the lightest.
But you're also the easiest to swallow whole.
Well, I'm gonna look.
I'm gonna kind of like give the nod at Octavius to like hurry up and get on this damn bridge.
Well, here's the thing about that. I might not have to use the bridge. So Well, I could probably, in a single bound, reach the other side.
Just one, eh?
Yes,
Yeah, how many
Octavius,
do
but
you
the rest
think
of
would
us cannot.
Yeah, right, I'm just saying, for me, the bridge is obsolete.
Right. I am now looking, and I'm physically going, as I'm sizing up the potential weight difference between Dudley and Emery.
Wouldn't it be more prudent if we use some rope to create other ways of crossing that maybe if the bridge fails us,
Well, perhaps if...
tie it to one tree, over the bridge, to another tree, and maybe twice more so you get the hand, and
Well,
you can...
Perhaps if Octavius can indeed leap across without the use of the bridge, this could be something we could deploy.
I could just use this really cool spell that I got. Maybe we could just walk on top of it with this wall.
Possibly it could be an exorbitant waste of magic, Dudley.
It could be, but it's pretty cool.
I'll be honest, I kind of like that idea. I mean, it's easy, right? You just...
I'll let it fly if it happens. That's
I mean, if it prevents certain embarrassments, Oberdon.
Well, I'm just thinking that it could be something that potentially could save the boy's life.
Whose life?
Your life, Dudley.
What do you mean my life? You're the one with all the armor on, though, Oberdon.
Yes, that's why I'm not
I'd be
worried about
fine.
me. I'm worried about you.
I
So-
think you're misplacing,
If something was to attack you, you could use that wall to not have it attack you. I think that's what he means.
Or,
Correct,
if
but I'm
something
sure
were to
I can
attack
cross
us.
this bridge easy. I don't think Oberdon could.
Hence the
No
rope
business
idea.
for him, really.
So, what's the rope idea? Maybe I missed that.
Oh, Watto. You take a
I
rope.
was sizing up the jump to see if I could make it easily.
Right. You take a rope, you tie it to this tree here, and then you take it across so it adds and tie it to another tree, so it adds its own bridge. A bridge on top of the bridge, a rope bridge, if you will.
I see.
So if the bridge collapses, you can still grab onto the what do they call it, those acrobats?
Trapeze?
Yeah, but the wire,
Trapeze wire.
Don't be so silly, Orthric. There's no way that Octavius is that talented or skilled. He'll never get across it.
Okay. You know I'm able to do things like that. You don't need to do the reverse psychology move.
I'd be willing to tell people, Octavius.
If you'd let... That catches his attention. Oh, okay, yeah, just maybe something just to add to the repertoire, the growing book.
And of
Oberdon
course,
pulls out his
everything
medieval cell phone.
I'll put it on medieval tube.
Heck, I'll write it down.
your fantasy phone.
Yeah, so if that's kind of what everyone's like, if everyone kind of looks at me expectantly, okay, yeah, who has the rope?
Here, I got some rope. I'll take out my rope
Of course
and
you
hand
do.
it to you. Of course I do.
Are you an expert at being in the scouts? I forget what the name of it is.
I'm
I
going to
hope
quickly
that-
show him my 4 badges on the rope tying
Yes,
skills.
maybe you could
These-
be the one to tie off this side as being the expert.
Of course. Yeah, I could do that. Do you want the bowline, clove hitch, reed knot, a sheet bend, half hitch? What do you want to do?
Let's go with the sheet bend knot.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
The
Wouldn't
sheet bend knot,
bowline
sure.
knot be-
Now, okay, step 1. I pass it through the thick rope bite. I reap it around the bite and tuck it under itself. Here, hold the thick end and pull the thin rope. There you go.
All right.
Uh,
Okay.
I love it. Do you have the instructions open? And
I'm not saying anything. I didn't quickly Google rope.
Duds
terms.
is actually like actively tying the knot, right?
Oh, with who?
Yes.
Oh no, on this side.
Yes.
With-
And
yeah.
I watched as he went through the instructions, so I can do it on the other side.
Is there not a skill for that?
It's great
Use
being
rope.
able to teach
Use
you
rope.
something, Otto. I always thought I would learn straight from you.
Use rope.
It is. Okay, there it is. Oh, it's the last one on the list. Roll me, use rope.
Me?
Yeah.
Skill.
I could have sworn there was like tying, roping.
Yeah,
Where was
use
the
rope.
last skill on the list?
What's the skill for using rope?
It's use- Oh my god!
Oh man!
You tie a fantastic
One.
knot. It's
Fantastic
so good.
slip
You
knot.
tug it, it works. It's so good. It's fantastic.
Oh,
Great rope.
oh.
Hey, there we go. Perfect.
All right. Looks very sturdy indeed.
Funny, I thought I would have forgotten this by now. It's been maybe 2 years.
Seems like it's a piece of cake for you, huh, Dust?
It is. It all just came flooding back to my memory. All right, tut tut.
Tut tut indeed. All right, so I'm gonna take the other end of the rope and get a little running start here, since this is a little further than the last jump, and attempt to jump across.
All right. Roll me jump.
Beautiful, beautiful jump.
16.
16.
I will let a 16 barely fly, and you will land just. You're so close. Like you hit the bank at the other side, and there's that moment where you're almost like whoa back, but you land it.
Yeah, I'll use that backwards momentum as I'm like, oh, to kind of spin around and be like, aha! Like to wave at everyone like,
Yep.
hey, I did it! See?
Just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I will find the closest tree to tie the other end of this rope
There is
on.
one like right there, and you can tie it.
Okay. That's what
So crossing the bridge without the assistance of the rope is a reflex save or a balance check, your choice. With the rope, you don't need to, unless you are heavy.
That's me. That's me.
So I think everybody will be able to cross. So the question is, what order do you guys cross in?
I'll go next.
Okay, so basically, you can the best position for the rope that you can manage to pull off here is so that you have to like jump a little bit to grab it because it's high enough, and you can just use your fists over your head to like keep the pressure on the bridge from being too much, and the others will be able to do the same thing and put their weight on the rope instead of on the bridge. And it's clear, you guys were right to not trust it, and you can feel the softness of the planks as you're pulling yourself across to the rope. So who's after Duds?
Probably Emery.
All right. Now, is Shorthurt going before or after the tin can?
The tin can contemplates the possibility of removing his plate mail and taking that across separately.
Okay.
But knowing that A, he needs somebody to assist him get in and out of his plate mail, and it takes a good 20 plus minutes to don it on and off, he's going to dismiss that idea as, we don't have time for this.
Right.
So he just looks at the dwarf and says, you go next. There's no point in both of us getting wet.
So yeah, I'm gonna go next.
All right. You don't have to roll. On top of not counting as heavy, you're also a fucking monk.
I don't know,
kinda your
so
thing.
I don't have any equipment like whatsoever.
Right, yeah, like you are fine.
Okay.
So what's gonna happen, Gorbat, is you're gonna be able to get halfway across.
What
And
I
as
do
we're-
want to do is,
Yeah.
looking at the bridge, I want to kind of walk along one side of it so that I'm kind of trying to I'm holding on to one side and the rope. Like, so I got one hand here, one hand on the rope, and I want to be my feet above the under rope.
Yep.
Because logically, it would seem that that would be the strongest point, whereas if I walk on the middle where the broken planks already are, I'm much more likely to go through.
Yep. So what I want you to do is I want you're gonna be you're leaning your weight on the good rope, not the one that's infected with rot.
Right.
Now, at this point, this is where the nat 1 is going to come back to bite us. Not because Dudley's knot was bad, Dudley's knot was fine, but because while Dudley was tying the rope, Dudley didn't understand that the trees are rotting from the inside out, and the tree that rope is tied to will like wetly rip and fall apart, and that's going to mean I need a balance check from Oberdon.
No.
Right, you said I got halfway across when this happens, right?
Yeah, so you're basically over the worst possible part for this to be happening. Give me a balance check. I'm going to call this a DC 8.
Oh.
That's bad for me.
Yeah.
All right.
On a good roll,
Come on,
you might
man.
make it.
Well, yeah, and the irony of it is, balance is one of those skills that I actually do have.
You do have.
But I
it's
didn't
also
put a
kind of
damn
like-
single point in it, so let's see how this works.
Also, you have a negative level.
Yeah, I do. So, well, I have no points in it, and the negative level doesn't actually adjust that, so...
Yeah, negative levels give you minus 1 to all skill checks.
Right, so
Each negative-
nothing else will alter, so I'm actually at a -7 on this, so we're taking...
Oh!
So, yeah.
Oh!
Hey, plate mail, dude!
Yeah, play mail, alright!
So, I get a -6 because of the
Oh
plate.
my god.
So, whatever I roll, take 1 off of it.
Okay.
And I need how much?
You need to get a total of 8.
Hey, chat,
Okay.
hype it up. We need this roll, chat. I don't need another negative level. Come on, chat. Cheer
Start
it up.
with
Let's
the
get it. Let's get it
slow
going. Here we go. Ready?
Do it.
Over. Damn.
Boom!
Over.
There we go.
Wow.
Thank you, dice. Thank you, dice.
So you get
And
across
thank you,
the bridge.
chat.
The tree starts to tear, and you realize the tree is tearing, and this area of the wood is of the swamp is more magically corrupted and rotten than you were thinking it was. You must be getting closer to the source of the rot, right? And you feel the rope give way, and you have one option left, and that is you have to give yourself a lurch forward so
Right.
you don't fall into the water down if something goes wrong. And so you manage to, like, in one big step, like, and you manage to belly flop onto the shore, so only your little feetsies are like sticking into the water, and then you realize, oh god, you feel the cold of the wet, and you're like, no, and you pull your knees up, and so you land with like your feet pointing in the air and your belly on the ground. You made it.
Alright. I'm going to look at Dudley and say, Dudley, help me up.
Oh, good. Yeah, of course. I was gonna do that anyway. Here you go. I'm gonna.
I'm going to
try
use
to-
Dudley to help me pull my
okay?
weary yet incredibly metal-laden form to its feet.
Dudley, you will be able to collect your rope again. However, I want you to add the
Okay.
word weakened to the rope's description from the corrupted force of the water.
All right.
You have 50 feet of weakened rope.
Cool.
Fantastic.
So, good job, everybody. Shall we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's.
I have decided I am not particularly fond of this accursed place.
That was
Remind
a
me
thrill.
when we get back to find you some light travel armor.
Light armor offers no protection against the forces of darkness. Apparently, it offers no protection against water either.
I'm not even wearing pants over that.
Wait, what are you wearing? What are you wearing, Emery?
It's got robes on, right?
Oh,
Oberdon, I've been meaning to ask you a
They're
question.
currently girded, but you know.
Yes.
What is malfeasance? Is that another word for zombie?
Malfeasance is something despicable, something unpleasant.
Oh,
For example, you could say that potato
Otto is
soup
a
is
malfeasance.
malfeasant.
that wasn't very nice here, Thor.
Hey.
Like potato. Like,
While we're all here, may I make a small observation for the future?
Yeah.
If we said no, would you not say it?
No, I would say it anyway. I'm just making
Just
sure that you're
checking.
listening. If we find ourselves in combat once again, Whether you could call it a curse or a boon, I don't know. But Adalis has made me somewhat punchable. Things like to beat the living shit out of me, out of pure will. In the eventuality that we should find ourselves in combat with multiple foes, let me insult as many as possible. And while they attempt to bludgeon me to death, they will not be bludgeoning you.
I don't want you to get hurt, Oberdon.
Well, you see, part of this boon is Adalis blesses me and makes me somewhat difficult to hit anyway. But more importantly, it makes you much more susceptible to not being struck either.
So make us less susceptible to being struck. I don't.
You're less susceptible to being struck.
So we want the little one and the man in the dress to not be on the front lines.
Not first. Always let me draw their fire before you go rushing in.
Okay,
I understand that I'm a little
wait
slow,
for you, then.
but sometimes perhaps it would be to our benefit.
Well, so long as you know that Otto and myself can assist you on the front lines.
Oh, I fully expect that you will. I don't expect to die pointlessly.
I won't let you die. I won't let any of you die. I promise.
No, death is pointless, Oberdon.
Now that I'm looking at it, you do have a really punchable face.
That is why my nose is busted slightly to the right, as it's been struck many times.
Doesn't he look it, right? I mean, isn't there something inside you just want to strike it?
Well, I've never really had that feeling before.
Yeah. It's odd, right?
Let's move on, guys.
I've never had that feeling either.
One final question for Dudley. Before you asked me to cast a spell, and it was sucked into your very being.
Yeah.
And then you somehow drew the magic from the force field. Do you currently contain all of this magical energy, or just the last thing that you came in contact with?
I have both right now.
This is a good tactical thing to remember.
Buzzed? Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that time we drank together.
Oh boy, I don't remember that.
What is this that we have come across?
As you are exploring, you find that someone else has decided they don't want to get wet either and screw a bunch of bridges.
Wow.
These don't require a roll unless, for whatever reason, you are struck by some giant moving object. Or, you know.
I cast sticks to snakes.
But unless
Beware
there
of
is
giant
a
moving
reason you would get a
objects.
balance check, those are safe. Like, you know, like maybe something bursts out from the shadows and like pushes you off or whatever. Like, they're just saying, you know.
Instinctively, I'll put a heavy foot on it and kind of press on the wood to make sure it is, in fact, not rotten.
It is so it's not immune to the rot of the swamp, but these are sturdy. They haven't been here very long. Whoever put them here knew that they would eventually rot out and got really sturdy wood from somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere
Is that a tent over there?
A tent?
Over here, what's that?
That's...
Looks like a tree to me.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like the
Spider webs on
spindly
it.
branches of a tree drenched in the ancient.
The Boy Scout in him, he sees tents everywhere. I mean,
I'm going to cross the boards using the center so I don't.
Okay, so you're walking. You're like carefully walking across the boards, right?
Yes.
And you're keeping an eye out for like any sort of giant, large objects that might just like swing through the air.
Yes. Yes.
And you'll get halfway across, and then there's no object. You can go across. It's fine.
Thank you.
Ew, that was
with the faith that these logs are pretty sturdy, I'm going to cross next.
You're good. They are fine even under the weight of Armordon.
I can
Armadon.
follow suit.
Yeah, I'm gonna...
The halfling is too
What
heavy.
is
Cracks when she
this?
dies. It's terrible.
You were the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back.
What
So-
the hell is that?
You are on a smaller island of solid ground here. And as you are and you can see on the other side of this dead tree that was probably dead before the rot started taking over the swamp. And in its branches, you realize those aren't spider webs. That's some kind of ichor or sap.
Ooh.
It's really gross looking now that you're up close.
Emily, what is this stuff?
In nature.
It's a swamp. Would I know anything about this?
If you pass a nature check at like 10 plus, the higher, the more you know.
Okay. Here we
Natural
go.
20. He always rolls a 20 on these things.
Right.
So here's the thing. I'm generally knowledgeable about a lot of things, but I don't go outside.
On a 10. So what you can say is that really reminds you of like sap, but the trees here are dead.
Some kind of sap-like ooze. I don't know. It looks almost as if the corruption has formed its own weird unlife, even in
I
the...
suggest nobody touch this stuff. This is probably some form of corruption.
Dudley, don't eat
Let me
it.
see.
Don't.
I know a lot
No.
about trees too. Go
Don't
take a
lick
look.
it, Dudley. Don't lick it.
Dudley,
Do
don't
it.
I'm
do
not
it.
gonna. Guys, I am an adventurer.
Roll me
I don't
nature.
just eat things.
The boy's going to lick it, isn't he?
You say that, but I have run tables for many adventurers who did.
and
just
I
eat things.
and I lick it. Just kidding. No, but I do want. I too want to do a nature check.
All right, since you have more experience with going outside, your roll would mean more than Emery's would to begin with, and you rolled higher. This stuff could paralyze you if you touched it.
Well, definitely don't eat it.
No, don't eat it at all.
You touch it.
I'm going to pull my dagger from my boot. Or from my...
It'll paralyze you. Careful.
Not me.
And I'm going to smear some of the... I'm going to take the blade of the knife and smear it into some of it so that there is some of it on the blade itself.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm going to assume you're being careful enough, having been told not to touch it by Dudley. That I
Nope,
don't
I'm
need
going
make
to
you,
go,
roll not
watch
touch
me.
it.
No, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to take great care to do that, and then very carefully trying to make sure I don't scrape a ton of it off by being
Accidentally,
too haphazard, putting it back into the sheath. I slide it carefully back into the boot sheath.
So for your information, Dudley, that sap, you recognize it by its very specific color. It comes from a rare kind of flower that would have been native to this area if it wasn't a swamp. Like, this region is where that flower comes from.
Mhm.
But usually it's a forest thing, and the flowers are few and far between, and they only make a little bit of this stuff. This is a lot, and it's in the wrong place.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think this stuff should be here, especially in this forest. It's definitely unnatural.
I think there's something else to be concerned with here.
What?
There are multiple of these bridges, not just the one dead ahead, but there's one to the side. Someone frequents this area here, and
Oh.
if they've been... You're saying it's not from the area, and I mean, we just witnessed Oberdon make quick use of the material. I doubt he's the only one.
Yikes.
Just something to be wary of. Someone might be farming this.
Nice observation, Emery.
As he says that, so Omerdon, realizing the bridges, he's going to run over and kind of examine both bridges to ensure that they're as sturdy as the first one.
They are. This singular one off to the east is not deliberately weakened, but you don't trust it just by looking at it. It seems to be more infected than the others.
Right.
That doesn't strike you as like a deliberate trap, but this one you can actually test it. Yeah, the boards are all good.
Okay.
Well, I
First.
suppose this is the direction that we should be going, seeing as that's where the object of power lies.
Do we want to get rid of any of the bridges over there?
I mean,
Actually, that's
Keep-
not a bad idea.
Keep
we
one so
cut
we
off-
can run, but maybe
Perhaps, yes, throw the
That
smallest
small one
one
over there?
into the water.
Okay. It's not like it takes a lot of effort to flip a board so it's in the water. Just boink.
Great.
I'm not going to do it, but I'll happily volunteer that somebody else should.
You'll happily volunteer Otto to do it. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Well, no. What I'm gonna
Bravely
do?
flips the log.
Are we talking about the one that's over here? I can't.
Yeah,
see.
the little one. The very
Should we
top.
just pull it
I'm
up?
gonna pull it onto
Yeah.
the little island
Yeah.
Okay.
so that we have access to get across.
There you
we
go.
Right,
wanna
but
Smart
somebody
move.
can't use it to come
But if
at
someone exactly.
you. Okay.
It pulls the log onto the bank, or else it gets the hose again.
Yep. This bridge, though, it looks like it's too long and it's too thin. You'll notice that this bridge was deliberately propped up with some kind of barrel, the top of which has rotten off of it, but you can see like it's filled with sand. So this is this is definitely deliberately constructed for future use and ease of maintenance. Emery might be onto something here.
Can I make a listen check to kind of listen ahead of us to see if I can hear anything?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, your character can't make a listen check, but your character can definitely listen, and you can make a listen check.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
Nice.
here, and because you've been so focused on the water is corrupted, what is this goop, right? There is a very distinct and important difference that only seems to dawn on you now. It sounds like a swamp should.
Hmm.
The buzzing of bugs and the chirping of crickets. And only because you know that this place should be void of that is that concerning. It's not bringing you this relief of like, oh, we must be escaping this because you know the water is worse here and the rot is more intense here. So why is things here that maybe it's the crystal? Maybe.
I cautiously want to walk across this bridge.
Okay. I'm not going to charge your roll. You can very cautiously walk across the bridge. We'll say moving across the bridge is half speed if, you know, for whatever reason a giant object swings out and we enter combat or something. Just so you know those count as difficult terrain.
Yep. Okay, there you
I
go.
will follow.
Duds, how do you not have... You're supposed to have a 2-foot, right?
How thick is this tree in the undergrowth? Is it feasible that it's masking our approach, or is it...
Yes, it is
Okay.
feasible. It's masking your approach, and you can go around it. For future reference, I will doodle. That's the trunk.
Okay, there we go.
We'll say that with these reeds and stuff, the ground is wet, but not so wet that you have to worry about it, and you will be able to directly approach there.
As cautiously as I'm able to,
Yep.
I want to get to here and just kind of peer around the corner to get my eyes on the thing. But I'm not going any further.
Yep, which is good, because if you had gone any further, I would have stopped you and been like, actually, there's a big, bubbling pool of vile badness, like the one that you encountered before where the not wraiths were, where the whites were. And it stretches. Actually, it stretches up until this. You can see where the dirt is underneath this glowing structure. And it is out here. It's back here. It's a big pool. You can't see the other side of it. As a matter of fact, right here where you're standing is the only place there's a thin enough place for you guys to walk around.
Yeah. That really sucks that the entire tree is covered in that paralyzation stuff, because otherwise I would have said we should climb through the tree.
Bad idea.
Well,
Not necessarily.
Is there a path like along here that we can go under the tree?
Yes, you can go under the tree just fine.
Okay.
If you're ever in a situation where you're rushed or a big object is swinging at you or something, you might have to roll to avoid. But you don't need to right now.
Okay.
So these bridges, the one to our direct east and west and southwest. Perhaps we could borrow one of the planks from each.
Why?
For what?
Well, because if we placed it here, perhaps we could create our own bridge to the bank on the other side.
Oh, well, there's already a place we could get there, isn't there?
Yeah, just right here.
Well, because I was not aware of that,
Yeah, that's fine. You were actually. We'll say that Oberdon was looking from beneath the tree on the southern side.
Yeah,
And what Otto saw was his keen eyes.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying any attention to the tree, in all honesty, because as soon as I saw this paralyzy stuff, I dismissed it. So,
Oh, well,
Yeah, I'll just say.
in that case, excellent.
Yeah.
and I'll
Just
turn around and
watch-
head back then.
Watch your head. But
I don't
we should
know
be fine.
about this. We have another bridge over here at
Right.
I'll go to the edge of the bridge and kind of glance over.
It looks like you're not sensing any motion. It sounds normal. You'd have to like cast light somewhere in there to be able to see because it goes beyond. But there's more dry land on the other side, and a tree that doesn't get covered in ichor.
Right.
Like, that's what this is right here.
So let me hang on.
Do you want to pull this bridge up too?
How long have we been since the first combat? How long have we been approximately, Squeege?
Good question. So the first combat was only like a minute, but then there was probably like 5 minutes of you going and like investigating and not knowing what to do with the rate with the.
Yeah. Then there was
Whites.
15 minutes going up to the north.
It's 15, and then it was another 15 coming down. So it's been a half an hour and change
Okay,
since the start
alright.
of the first combat.
Because my light spell is only good on my sword is good for 60 minutes. So
Okay, cool.
I want to be aware so that I can voluntarily let you know when that is failing.
Call it 25 minutes left.
Alright, sounds good. Alright.
And I believe that's the same for the
the
scroll.
scroll.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
miraculously survived because pie points.
Good old pie farms.
Alright.
Do we want to pull? I like this bridge for escape reasons, but if something wants to come up it,
Well, perhaps in that case, seeing as it seems to be fairly narrow, our avenue underneath the tree, perhaps we should do both. Take one log from each, and place it to the right of the tree so we have two possible escape routes.
that's yeah. Let's do it.
Instead of
We're going
having
to
to all
embarrassingly
funnel
tug at
through
this.
that narrow gap beneath the branches.
I'll go try to help.
Okay, so you're looking to set up boards specifically where?
Right, so if they will reach, and of course you'll have to let me know, but my thought process is we could take two of the boards
Yeah.
and kind of, not that one, and kind of lay them here.
Okay, if you have some means of like tethering them together, you could make a one board bridge like this, because that's about 20 feet, and these
Right.
boards are 15 feet each. Looking at them.
Okay. Are there any branches that are low enough around the actual tree on this side that we could like lay one onto, go up it, and then lay another one from it down so that there's at least a branch supporting it?
Yeah, that's cool.
Then let's do that.
That sounds both trustworthy enough that you would use it, and dangerous enough that it might be complicated in combat.
Absolutely.
Don't touch the sap.
Either
Don't
way, at
touch
least
the
it
sap.
means two people at a time can be running away.
Great.
I like that. That sets up a tense moment later on, potentially.
Perfect.
My favorite
Potentially.
thing.
I love
You know,
the way
it's
they
like a
keep
giant object swinging around or something. like-
covering those bases, you know.
I have a question. When we go to that structure, what are we gonna do?
Hit it.
You're this close, Emery. Do you still have? Can you still cast that spell? Do you have another one of those prepared? Do you remember in third edition you have to prepare it multiple times to cast it multiple times?
Is it that way for clerics? I thought it was you prepare it and you know those, and then you can expend it accordingly.
So in 5th edition, that's how everything works.
Okay.
In 3rd edition, if you only prepared a spell once, you can only cast it once, because the spell is pre-locked into that slot.
Yeah, the exception for that is if like for healing spells, you can sack anything to turn it into a healing spell.
The difference is there are casters that work the way you're describing. They cast as a sorcerer. I don't think Cloistered Cleric changes your preparation mechanics. It just gives you bonus caster levels.
Yeah, it just gives me like an extra set of if I
Yeah,
were.
clerics have to prepare. The only difference is depending on your domains, you are
Yeah, and
considering.
it was a domain spell that I only had one of, was the magic circle, so I can't do that one.
If it's a domain spell, that you have that one slot to prepare it into, but some clerics gain the power to ditch a spell they have to heal or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that spell, you can still do this, but it's going to take you a couple of I'll call them religion rolls.
Okay.
So like ritually, I'll say if you can get 3 successful DC 20 rolls, or you could spend like 15 minutes entirely uninterrupted, you could do it passively without having the spell prepared.
Okay.
And that's how we say, the player didn't understand how the spell mechanics work, but I like the idea, so we'll meet you halfway. Go.
There you go.
Also, I had no idea I'd be doing it, so I wouldn't have been able to prepare.
I'm cool with this, where this is going story-wise, so we'll flow.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So
I like the boards are red.
I thought they were actually brown. But then I noticed the color.
You wore your red boards today.
Didn't look
Clearly.
as.
I ask only because, do we all have to go over there?
Oh, here we go.
There
you go.
Yeah, I got you.
That's
Brown 'em out.
Yellow.
Yeah, that's yellow.
We know they're boards. It's okay, guys.
So, because we're not in the middle of a tense situation with giant objects flying around, you can walk across those boards just fine with no roll. You can also go around the other way with no roll.
Okay, I am going to take... Seeing as I was the one that suggested it, to prove that the idea was sound, I'm going to take the board method.
That tree doesn't like you, and it does creak angrily at you, but you're fine.
Okay.
Perfect. That's a good point. We might want something heading up the rear, just in case.
Yeah, take the rear.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so not me? I mean,
No, you're already there.
it's usually where I am.
Join the group if something happens here. It's probably best you.
Wait,
You're probably the best for it.
You want me to wait here?
Just make sure nothing's coming. You don't have to wait there per se. I mean, you can be.
All right.
Just make sure nothing's. Keep an eye out. Stay
Okay.
visual.
All right.
Stay frosty.
Stay frosty.
We're like teeter-tottering on our time, so Squeege,
Yep.
you let us know when we're at a good stopping point.
All right, so what you guys will run into is that this thing is very hugging of the edge of the thing, and you'll need to walk around it, which isn't a fair to begin with, because the closer you get, the more powerful the energy radiating off it is. So we'll say, Emery, in order to successfully pull this off, you're going to need to be standing somewhere over here where you have solid ground and you have like the chance to stop and concentrate. And I want to know where everybody is standing around Emery, because the last time the whites were intensely, like, they seemed to be drawn to it, they were retreating to it, and they seemed to react initially to you guys noticing it, so they were very protective of it. And you haven't seen any whites, but the fog is still rolling around, and you shouldn't trust the creepy undead swamps.
Right.
So where
if
are
that's
you
where
standing?
Emily is standing, then I am going to stand close by to him, about here.
Okay.
I will
Passing by
be.
this thing.
I will be defending him in this direction.
There we
Okay.
go.
What about Otto and Goods?
There we go.
I am actually going to, I'll get a higher vantage point, and I'll take a look at this tree here. Do I see any of that ichor stuff that was on that last one that seems like it would paralyze me?
No, thank God there isn't any. As a matter of fact, in this area, the underbrush seems a lot more resistant. Maybe it's because of its proximity to the magic, but it doesn't seem to be as rotten. It definitely seems to be more alive, and there's more of it.
Okay, I'm gonna climb up the tree, not like too crazy high, but just high enough so I can get a little more of a vantage point.
Okay. I'm not even gonna charge
yeah.
you a climb roll. Like it's your Auto and it's a tree. It's not moving.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd be around up here, and I would just kind of be like, 360 eagle eye in it every once in a while, just kind of looking out, make sure I don't see anything coming up on us.
Okay. So at this point, we're coming right up on that break point that you were talking about, Gorbad. What we're gonna do is as Emery begins the process of channeling his power in a much more methodical way and a much less panicked way, because you're much more prepared for it this time.
Not this mission of the game.
Uh,
I know this
no.
mission. I know this mission.
Oh God.
what's going to happen is that
The horde is coming.
you guys will hear rustling in the leaves somewhere.
Which direction?
The
Yes.
direction is yes. And what will
Oh my
happen
goodness.
is the first thing that happens is there is the sound of rushing water as something breaks from underneath the surface.
Oh crap!
Oh my god.
This is a huge-sized creature, so it stands up. It is a giant mound of foliage. It is covered in like red blossoms. It's literally covered in the flowers that Dudley recognized the sap from. It has no face. It has two huge vines for tentacles as it pulls itself up on the shoreline, and it opens a giant-sized maw that is dripping with fangs, teeth, and its saliva is that sap.
Oh no.
Makes matters worse, it's to the south. You guys are actually arranged pretty well. I'm sorry, Otto, but it's not alone.
Oh.
Oh, hey! Oh,
Oh, I like those.
That I pointed out to you that was very lively, and much more of it like stands up, and you realize
no.
it's the foliage itself is creatures, and they
Oh my
have
God.
tentacles that unfurl and will cut off on the bellowing, screeching, bestial roar from
Oh,
the
wow.
animate swamp
Oh
life.
no.
This is a boss fight. And we'll
And that's the perfect place to stop.
Yeah, that's
Hey, high five!
Oh
High five
God.
on the cliffhanger, dude! Bang!
Yeah.
This
done.
is the boss fight. Yeah.
That's how I like to see. That's how I like my encounters my sessions to end. Hi there, I'm Gorbad, normally the resident dungeon master here on How We Roll, but for this particular campaign, I'm going to be taking a seat on the other side of the table to become a player. If you'd like to keep up with all things How We Roll, you can follow us on Twitter at How We Roll, check us out on Facebook at How We Roll, and you can also follow us on YouTube, and you've guessed it, at How We Roll. We also have a website, www.howweroll.com. Now, if you want to keep up with me personally, you can follow me on Twitter at Gorbad, and don't forget to check out my blog, www.thedmblog.com, for all things Dungeons & Dragons related, both for players and DMs alike. We will see you next time.
Sup, I'm Evil Squeegee, they, them, and as you can tell by now, Gorbad has made the mistake of letting me Dungeon Master a campaign on his channel. If you want to follow me on my channel, where I make the mistake of letting me Dungeon Master games on my channel, you can find that at twitch.tv/evil-squeegee. If you want to follow me on Twitter, at twitter.com/evil-squeegee, you can find inclusivity rants, gaming rants, rants about rants, and rants.
Is it on? It is. Greetings and well met, my friends. It is I, the great and powerful Thelenius Conch. My good friend the Snuggler has asked me so kindly to step in. If you want to keep up with what he's doing in the world, you can follow him at two places. The first is on Twitter at Matty Sweet Tweet. And the second, of course, is Instagram, where you can follow him at Matty Quick Pick. And I see what he did there. Clever boy. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time, and don't forget the lavender.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode of How We Roll. My name's Jane, and you can follow me on Twitter at Jane on Twitch with a 0, not an O. I also do stream like 3 times a week now, so you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/JaneIvana. What do you gotta say, Norman? Sorry. Peace, suckers.
Hey y'all, Shagget here. I play various characters on How We Roll. This is the first campaign where Gorbad is a player, and I very much would like to enact my player vengeance on him, since he's usually the DM and I can't do that really, because he'll just, wish it away and make it irrelevant. Follow me on Twitter at Eneb_Convos, and we can start a dialogue to find out the creative, awesome means that my character will get his character killed. Because isn't that what every player wants to do? I think so.
I that smoke? Clear. How we roll? You follow me. It's that smoke.